Grace and peace, y'all. Up top. Let's do me a favor and type one in there if y'all if you hear me. I think this thing should be on. Hopefully, just check and make sure. Hopefully, this thing is working. Do me a favor and type one in there. I don't see. Okay, okay. It must be taking a second on this here. I want to. People don't believe when I say these Bible thumpers. All right, I want to talk about the religious cults a little bit in here. I'm. I don't know what's going on. I'm supposed to be doing a book review on Chosen on a certain book, and it's always going to be something. Hotep Rob Moses. It's always going to be something. We got a lot of religious cults around here, a lot of Bible thumpers around here. So we might have to let some things calm down. When we start talking about religious cults, scholars don't even like to use that word because everything and everybody is considered a cult these days, and they want to say certain things are really offensive. But I want to show y'all some stuff. I'm not sure if y'all heard. I'm just throwing this in there. I'm not sure if y'all heard the officer that got fired, that shot through the window, the sister that was babysitting down south, that he got indicted. But let me see if I can pull this other thing up in the meantime, because there's something that's floating around online. I think it's Ghana again. Pastor, African pastor, taking a bath in a blue barrel. I'm not sure if y'all seen that. He taking a bath in a blue barrel. He dipping in the water, coming back up out that water, and folk taking that water and drinking that water. He got them drinking his bath water. I don't know what to say about this stuff that's going on out here. But cult's been around. Cults ain't nothing new. Cult's been around for a minute. But I think I may still go into that book thing. I may go offline with my Patreon people and talk about that book thing if I don't get no hate mail. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. People sensitive, especially when we start talking about race, religion, and I tell people I'm on the side of the truth. People think I'm playing this side, playing that side, and all this other stuff, and people are just confused. But I'm gonna go on with whatever I do. I'm going to do what I do, but I want to talk about signs of being in a cult. So the pastor's taking a bath and they drinking the water. I don't know what spirit is going on over there with them folk in Africa, but I'm gonna tell y'all right now, we better cut it out right now. Charles, you seen that video? Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that video up here. It's just listen. Because I can look at the phone at the same time. It's some nonsense going on, but I want to talk about some signs of being in a cult. There's some signs of being in a cult, and people, I don't think they really realize that there's signs. There's certain things you can see. And I wrote a couple of things down. I said, I'm gonna go ahead and get into that. If you thinking God is a racist, you in a cult. If you in a group and your group is running around here preaching that the creator of the heavens and earth is a racist, you in a cult. Let me just put that out to y'all a couple of seconds behind me. I'm gonna wait to see some comments on that. Is God a racist? That's a fair question. Is God a racist? There's signs that, like I said, a lot of scholars don't like to use the word cult anymore. Let me see if this thing will come up on here. All right, here it is. Yeah, it did come up on here. Let me show y'all this before I jump into this thing right here. All right, I'm seeing some comments coming in. All right, let me see. I don't know if I can. Matter of fact, let me see. I think y'all will be able to see it. I don't think I'm not going to play this. I don't know I'm not sure who channel this is, but y'all need to see this madness that's going on out here. All this madness going on. A lot of this madness is going on in the name of the religion. In the name of the religion. Let me see if I can see the screen on. All right, y'all see it right there. Race didn't exist until recent times. Thank you, Perry. Thank you so much. Did not until recent times. Plain and simple. This is the madness that's going on right here. You're taking a couple of dips and they're giving the people the water, and the people just loving it. They drinking up that water. All right, I'm gonna stop that right there. It's a lot of this nonsense they got to stop. Some people say that the only reason this nonsense is going on is because people out here. Let me see if I can get back to my other screen, because they're saying that people are out here not knowing no rent. That's the reason that this stuff is going on. People out here not knowing rent. I'm going to talk about the I think I may have to switch it up from that book talking about chosen. I might have to switch it up into the coming of the new age. I might have to switch it up to another book. But in all actuality, we got Pew Research. We got the other one that start with B. We have a couple of research centers out here that deal with people in religion and stuff like that. And they specialize in surveys. They specialize in surveys. Pew is a main one, PEW. And when they said 51% of people don't that go to church, I'm talking about Bible believers. And when I say Bible believers, I'm talking about messianics. I'm talking about whatever y'all want to call yourself out here. Folk that believe in that book and go to the temple, go to the synagogue, they pray. They meet in groups, they meet in homes, however you want to do it. Meet in the garage, meet in the hotel, meet in the funeral parlor, wherever y'all want to gather. That people gather together, and most people don't know simple stuff about writ. It says more than 50%, I think it was like 51% of people that don't know what the Great Commission is. 51% of people don't know what the Great Commission is. This is how people can fool you. If you don't know a thing, people just give you anything now. If you grew up in church and you've been around church, and I've been around some people that grew up in church and they don't know what the Great Commission is. For those that don't, the Great Commission is Matthew. I think that's Matthew 28, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, around there. When Jesus resurrected Christ, tell people, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Where Perry at? Where my oneness people at? And that's what he said. Not Perry on Brother D. Where Brother P at? And this is what a lot of people don't understand. Some people say, well, oh, he wouldn't told you to go out to all of Israel and all of this other stuff. I don't need no Bible thumping emails today to start telling you all this crazy other stuff. And because people don't know that and some other things, it's easy for them to fall into a cult. I'm going to read a couple of characteristics that I wrote down here just to try to help people out. Let me go back and read some of these comments, because they say a lot of times when I'm on here freestyling, Shalom Joe's daughter, I miss a lot of stuff. And often, all the time, I go back and I look at the videos and stuff like that, and I notice that they're correct. I do miss a couple of good comments too, and I often do this so people can be involved in the conversation. Now, when people are talking and you start dealing with a cult, sometimes there's 2 and 3. Grace and peace, prophetess. Sometimes it's 2 and 3 different 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 wordings. You have to know vocabulary when you're dealing with cults. We'll say blessing and they'll mean something totally different. Just like conscious folk. Just like the conscious community, the conscious folk, or people involved in the occult sciences. I'll say one thing, it'll mean one thing to Sister Tanae, it'll mean one thing to you, and it'll mean something totally different to Raw Moses. And I'm using the same word. It'll mean something totally different. So we got to understand some terminology. If you in a group, I don't care what that group is, if you're involved in a group and your group they're the only ones with the truth, that's a problem. It's a good sign that you're in a cult. If you are involved in a group, hold on, I'm gonna try to clean this thing off here. If you're involved in a group and your group think they only got the truth, ain't nobody else got the truth but your group and your leader, it's a good chance that you in a cult. Plenty people. Now I'm not just talking about no Israelite cults. I'm not talking about no Christian cults, all type. We got Mormon cults, Jehovah's Witness cults. You got a whole bunch of these cults running around here. And they really believe the stuff. They really believe it's, oh, the truth is only with their leader. The truth is nowhere else but with them and their little group. And the truth ain't come down here until their leader came on the set. That's a problem. That's a problem right there. People don't understand that. If your leader, if the leader is the only one with the truth, or your group is the only one with the truth, you got to keep an eye on the group. That is just how it is. Another thing is, if your group, if somebody leaves the group, and they all, every single person that leaves the group, they badmouth them, something is wrong with them, they was never part of us, they wasn't right anyway, and I knew from the beginning he wasn't nothing and all of that stuff, you in a cult. Everybody that leaves the group is wrong. Another thing, when you're dealing with cults, you got to listen to the rumors. Most cults, you'll start hearing things. Oh, he was touching a girl in the choir. He walked in the women when they were getting dressed. He made a baby with the next door neighbor. The secretary left because he was molesting her daughter. When you start hearing so much of the same thing from so many different places, remember the rumors. Most people that come out with cults that I deal with, they say, well, to be honest, I did hear 4 years ago. You heard 4 years ago some stuff, but you blocked it out of your mind. You blocked it out of your mind. That's a problem. These are problems. These are constant problems we see with cults all over. You got an unhealthy honor for the leader. The leader's right there next to God. Now, Rich says to honor the leader, but when it's unhealthy, let me give you an example. When it's unhealthy, when you forgoing your food, putting food in your table, when you forgoing your rent so the leader can go on vacation and stuff like that, that's unhealthy. There's something wrong with that. The leader can do no wrong. Another thing that a lot of cults do, a lot of cults don't like critical thinking. You got to be, I'm talking about any Bible thumping cult. You dealing with any Bible thumping cult, and they don't want you to be out here using critical thinking skills. If your group is against critical thinking skills, it's a good chance you're in a cult. I'm gonna park right there for a minute, because we got some folk that got to think, am I in a cult or not? Then pastors get mad at me because I tell them a lot of people are just falling back from church. They don't even want to go to church. They don't even want to deal with church. Why? Because they've been involved in cult behavior. They see cult behavior. Most of the time, they're going to have leading people. They're going to have some leading sisters, leading deacon, leading people there. And they're the cheerleaders. They're the ones that protect the pastor and keep the cult moving. So they'll come back and they'll just tell you anything, and they'll go back and they'll report on you, like COINTELPRO. All cults got snitches in there. Snitches. Anytime you start seeing snitches, people that's closest to the cult leader, they going back and they telling stuff. You can't even begin to talk like you got doubt. Because the cult gang is going to get up on you. They have a gang mentality. This is all the madness. Vince Perry said that's the Republican Party. Must be a cult. People getting mad at that. We're going to talk about y'all president. I think some of y'all think impeachment means jail and all. I think some people confused about some stuff. I might have to bring some of my political scientist people up on here and talk about this stuff, but I don't want to get some of you Democrats upset. I want to get some of y'all upset. So there's a couple of things that we got to look at when we're dealing with cult, we're dealing with cultic behavior, and we're dealing with individual people. Everyone, let me say the beautiful truth, said Berean, everyone can't be right. There's only one. Oh, no, I agree with that. Absolutely. But if your leader only think that one group got the truth, Mormons, for instance, until Joseph Smith came down, who was a Mormon, Freemason, cultist, until he came down with them golden tablets and looking for all of them, with that magic wand and all that occult stuff he was doing, they said that Jesus and the apostles messed up. After Christ, 1700 years, the church wasn't doing no good till this good Joseph Smith was born, and God, because he was praying, where's the truth? Where's the truth? He heard a voice tell him there was no truth. I'm getting ready to give you the truth. That's a problem. So you telling me 1900 years from what we call the Great Commission, there was no truth down here. Jesus' disciples, all of them failed. The whole history of the church failed until your good leader came up. Now, some people say, oh, I don't know. I got that in an email a few months back. I don't know about these white folk. They just so crazy, because the other guy believed that the comet behind the comet, the mothership was behind the comet. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. Black folk been in the cults for a long time. Matter of fact, I can't even say cults are on the rise in the Black community, because they ain't never went nowhere. Cults been in the African American community for a long, 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 long time. And we're not going to see a lot of what, like I said, scholars speaking on cults because they're saying that's an offensive word. You can't call certain things cult behavior. Kojic is legit. Dr. Malachi Z. York is legit. Nawubians, they legit. New Covenant, Politinum, everybody is legit and everybody is on the same level. We don't want to offend nobody, but no, somebody got to get offended. Somebody got to get offended. If you running around here and talk about New Covenant, I'm gonna bring something up to y'all. If you running around here and your group is talking about the white man is the devil or the black man is the devil and the white group, I'm talking about area Phineas priesthood. I'm talking about British Israelism, any black cult, any cult talking about the white man is the devil and the black man is God, ain't nothing but a cult. I'll park right here for a minute. It's interesting because I was watching Polite and he said, and he brought something out interesting. He said, listen, when in my neighborhood, he said in the hood, when he was in the hood, he said, yeah, in the hood and in jail, the white man is the devil and the black man is God in those situations. That's what he believed. But it's interesting he's saying that. But a lot of time, but then he said that he's saying, I'm freestyling what he's saying. He's saying that his stance has changed when he started going, when he went to Egypt. He said he went to Paris. He said he went to Ethiopia. He said when he started traveling and meeting other people, Armenian, other people from other nationalities that he may look at, and they don't identify with certain things and they treat and they respect him and treat and speak a certain way to them, he noticed, he started saying, well, all these people can't be devils. Kind of like when Malcolm X went and traveled to Mecca. Y'all remember when he met pilgrimage? He seen some blue-eyed Muslims. He was right next to him and they was making Hajj. They was praying with him. He traveled abroad. In the hood, a lot of times, if you believe something and it's only something going on that's local, you're in a cult. It's real to you in your situation right there. This is how it is. Even my days when I wasn't in rocking out with the church, really, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I rocked with some white guys. They like, listen, we coming down here. What happened? Listen, came up in here, police said I had hammers and da da da. Listen, we gonna send them people down there with that bail money. We gonna make that take this. Listen, we doing A, B, C, and D. I'm like, yo, I'm caught up in the building. These cats are like, yo, we coming through. White guys, European guys. So I'm never gonna say that. And there's more and more people that's running around here because of racial tensions. They seeing stuff that they think is going on with Donald Trump and all of this, and they're calling it, and they're running around here trying to race bait people. Oh, them people devils right here, but we pure. Listen, all black folk ain't my people. Ah, boy, I shouldn't have said that. Them dumpers gonna get mad right there. It's just a reality check. We just gotta face reality. There's a lot of stuff that's going on out here, and it's not right and exact. Grace and peace, Richardson. Let me go back and read some stuff. All right, this is Alton here. Alton always, let me see what Alton talking about. Frank Cherry of the Hebrew Israelite movement had the same revelation about the same time. Oh, you talking about, yeah. He talking about Cherry, yes, yes. A lot of people had the same type of revelation. They just flipped. Elijah Muhammad W.D. Fard came with the revelation. But them folk across the water was teaching the same thing. The Klan was over here at secret Masonic meetings teaching the same thing. Christian organization. Of course, you got a lot of people running around. You could say what you want. Back in the days, a lot of people, good Christian folk, wasn't shooting down the Klan. Wasn't shooting down the Klan. But now they want all of us to go tear down them other folk. I can't even speak right now. It's a gag order. Can't nobody really talk too much right now. We're gonna, like I said, we can go offline and we can discuss some stuff. I don't even know if I can bring up that book because y'all folk too touchy out here. Y'all folk too touchy out here, and I don't know who started it. I don't know who started it, but once you start bringing up certain things and discussing certain things, the conversation will just go down the road. Alton, I don't know if you remember. I know you've been doing videos for a minute, but people started talking about Jesus ain't white. If you talking about Jesus ain't white, you done opened up what the people used to call it back in the days, Pandora's box. Pandora's box done got opened right now. And now it's hey, you got everybody from the coast to the it's madness right now. That's the only word I can think about. There's madness right now. How far are you going to go with something? And truth, like I've often said, truth is dangerous. Truth is really dangerous, and we got to be careful. Let me read a couple of more of these things here before I get out of here, and I'm gonna see if I can hit those people in and get up in that what you call it. Where else I am? That God is a racist. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, if y'all got unhealthy attitude towards your friends, towards your family, mate, neighbors, and everybody you're around, normally they see a change in you. You could tell somebody's evolved in a cult or jumped in a cult when they talk about the leader all the time and they don't talk about Jesus. They don't talk about God. Oh, Elijah Muhammad, you got to understand the great messenger, the prophet of Allah. You got to understand the general. You got to understand the lead bishop. If you talk about your pastor more than you talk about Jesus, that's a problem. That's a sign you're in a cult. I shouldn't have said that, but I'm glad I said that one right there. You got plenty of people out here, as soon as they get quote unquote saved, they join the church, all they doing is talking about the church and they talk about their pastor and they ain't talking too much about Jesus. People behavior change when they, just like somebody to get molested, they said you got to keep an eye. If a kid come back from visiting friends and family for the summer and they acting differently, their attitude, their grades in school change, it could, those are classic signs of somebody that done went away or something happened and been molested. Most people molested by uncle or family member, cousin or whatever. They say that's a very good chance their attitude change. Some folk out here, their attitude change when they join these religious groups. Oh, my leader got the truth. God is speaking. He's speaking beyond the book, matter of fact. He's doing some stuff beyond the book. You got to watch out. That's another sign. Folk doing some stuff beyond the book. I'm wondering if anybody in here think they in the church and they really in the cult. Grace and peace, Z Johnson. I'm wondering if folk is running around up in here, they're in the camp, they're in assembly, and they're really, really on the low, they're involved in the cult. I'm just gonna put that, I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm just gonna put that out there because it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. You better not speak on the man of God. That's right, Alton ain't lying. You better not speak on the man of God. You can't do certain things. You'll get yourself killed. Even when they heard rumors about Elijah Muhammad, they heard rumors, grace and peace, leader for Christ. We appreciate you. They heard rumors about Elijah Muhammad. That ain't stopped no show. They kept on, and folk was willing to kill. When you're dealing with cults, folk are willing to kill for the charismatic leader of the cults. Most of the time, you know it's a cult because it falls apart because another charismatic leader don't come up. Once that leader die, it falls apart. It's killing over the organization. You hear fighting over the money, the homes, the real estate. They looking at the books. That's another thing with cults. The books are, you don't know where the money going. Just trust the man of God. Come and lay it at his feet. Y'all said y'all was buying air conditioning. What are y'all talking about? They talking about they buying air conditioning, got the new big body outside 2 Sundays later. Y'all ain't see the other pastor pulled up in a Range Rover and they try to beat him up. I don't want to pull up none of that because they're gonna say I'm bashing the chair. Oh Lord, it's rough out here. I'm walking a thin line right now. I'm walking a thin line. All right, let me see. I'm gonna go back because I got that book thing to do. I got a lot of stuff that I said I was gonna do with my Patreon people that I was gonna do before the end of this year. Before I said I want to make sure I put a bunch of work in and share a whole bunch of stuff with y'all before the end of this year. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Let me see. I want to make sure I read everything. Progress, brother Berean. I don't care how honest white folk is with scholarship on the Bible and this evil system. Y'all's gonna deal with them all. But all right now, let's park right there for a minute. That was Progress. Good to see you. Let's park right there for a minute. Progress, we got a problem when we start dealing with color in the book and God. All these white folk going to hell. And I said I wasn't going to touch that race, but sometimes, oh, y'all racist people? That's how come we always go to skin color, or is that such a big issue that we have to? Because somebody hit me the other day, Berean, I want to know, he said his mother was Spanish, she's Dominican and this and that. He want to know where he fit in the 12 tribes chart. I don't know where you fit at dealing with that chart. I don't know what make people think I even deal with that chart. That chart ain't right and exact. But then they'll hear people like, matter of fact, let me throw it out there to Progress. Progress, are Dominican people, are Hispanic people part of Israel? That's a fair question. I said I wasn't going to do this, and I'm going over there anyway. Because Progress is a good person to ask. He said, God gonna deal with all these white folk. What God gonna do with these black folk that done lied about this religion? Done thumped that book out and done did what they wanted to do with that book. That other guy said he was the comforter. I'm watching everybody. There's a lot of people shaky running around here. That's a question for Progress. Are Hispanic people, are Cuban people, Dominican people? Because y'all know about the whiting with the Brazil. They brought white folk in there to lighten up the whole country, to mingle to, people have been doing that, right? When we start dealing with or you're under the depression, only black folk or Hispanic people didn't go through slavery and the stuff in the sense that we did. So with that chart, explain some of that to me, Progress, whilst we talking. Whilst we talking, I'm gonna put that link in there if somebody wanna drop a buck or whatever in there. And give me some thumbs up too. That's another thing. My man's been hitting me with that and said I haven't been pushing. We got 64 people in here. We got at least have 40 thumbs up. I'm just throwing that number out there. Let the Lord use you. Listen, let me go back to Berea, 920 skinny people, only Negro Israel. See that? See that? I got beef with that. A lot of people got beef with that. Matter of fact, Progress, you know that. You want to only make black folk Israel. What about the Native Americans? What's the Native Freemason told y'all that, and y'all picked that up and rolled with that? That same guy that started the Mormon church, he said part of the lost tribes were the Indians over here. That's a whole nother thing, because we ain't talking about people too touchy. People too touchy running around here right now. Grace and peace, Pastor. I can't even say your name. You're a troublemaker too. I seen that thing you sent me. What are we gonna do with that? Or were people using that whole tribe thing, cults or whatever, because cults will use whoever they have to use for the time, then they'll switch their game up. In the beginning, they said, we ain't dealing with the white man, this and that. Then they say later on, Farrakhan and them, they don't mind, or Malcolm, later on, they don't mind getting support from other people, but we got to do for self first. And when they started opening up doors for funding and other people wanted to, what can I do to help the cause? You don't think no white folk out here want to help the cause? You don't think no white folk helped the cause that helped Frederick Douglass and learn how? You don't think no white folk progress helped the cause of blacks in America? It's some white folk that's more black and righteous in their heart than black folk is. Now I'm using the King's English right now. That's old broken up English right there. That's how come you got folk out here. As a matter of fact, y'all finna get me mad right now. Y'all got folk out here think Trump done did more for Obama than black folk, including your boy Omar Johnson. What has Obama done? I got some black political scientists. I got some black teachers out here saying what Obama did compared to Trump. Y'all running around here with this impeachment and other nonsense right now. I hope y'all messing the forest for the trees. That's a whole nother subject right there. Let me go back and read some. Let me go back and read. I want to read specifically to blow that chart up. Thank you. Israel talking about blow that chart up. Ain't nobody else going for that. Plenty of people ain't going for that chart right there. But was it good for a time? I don't know. Some people say a lie is a lie. You build something on a lie, it ain't no good. It ain't no good. And if you find out it's a lie and you're still riding with it, you're a devil too. You got to get rid of it. Listen, we got to put that down. That's a lie. We got to put that chart down. That's a lie. We got to put that white Jesus. If that's a lie, it's a lie. We got to put it all down. That's where the beef is coming in. And I said, there's some type of spirit that's riding me. I can't stop it. I got to talk about certain things. And they be like, yo, you got to fall back right now, at least for a season. Fall back, pick it back up when the weather breaks. There's other good stuff to talk about. But then we got people like Progress. Okay, let me see. Listen, everybody, I want y'all to hear what Progress said. Okay, Berean, very, very few Caucasians. All right, he said, yeah, there's some, of course, any person would say we got some. Oh, Progress even believe. Oh, okay. Progress even believe the chart is shaking. Who in here think that chart is right? Hold on. I hope you ain't among those that think that chart is right and exact. Let me see who else, because there's some strange stuff that people believe, and they just believe it for some crazy. Because when Rich says, I'm talking about the Good Commission, how you interpret that, Progress? Go and teach all nations. You think that the teachings of Christ, Rob Moses, you think the teachings of Christ is for every nation, baptizing them? That's what the book says. That's what the Great Commission is. That's what the resurrected Christ, that was his message was. Other people said, no, he just wanted the white to stay with the white and the black to stay with the black. The Great Commission, he meant to go all throughout Europe. That's how the gospel spread in Europe. Forget the fact the gospel was steeped in Africa. Forget the Ethiopian church. Forget all of that stuff right there. This is where we get make-believe going on. Cults, they're into a lot of make-believe. They into a lot of make-believe. Jehovah Witness, yes, because Jehovah Witness is a Christian cult. But we have Israelite cults. We have Islamic cults. What's an Islamic cult? Islamic cult is a nation of Islam. That ain't real Islam. That ain't real Islam. That's make-believe based on race and skin color. When real Islam over there, they ain't bearing witness with none of that. They're not bearing witness with none of that. But sometimes do they work hand in hand? Yeah, because you could say what you want. A lot of the nation, when they were really jumping, they weren't saying, listen, oh, Islam is our religion. What, y'all forgot about 1,000 years? Before W.D. Farr came on and said, y'all forgot 1,000 years that them Muslims over there, them brown Muslims over there had black Africans in slavery? And said, Quran said, Hadith said you're supposed to do that. Hadith bear witness Muhammad was looking like a European. Wesley Muhammad, and ain't gonna like that. They said Muhammad was black. It ain't what Hadith said. Whoever wrote Hadith came up a couple of years later. Whoever wrote Hadith made it sound like he was light. I'm telling you, light-skinned people been writing them books and writing commentary on them books and speaking down on darker people from a long time. Go back to the Talmud. Go back to Hadith. All them books. That's how come when you got them other cats in the conscious community, you see, get rid of all them Abrahamic faiths. Shout out to them fools. But boy, listen, there's some stuff to look at. I was looking at Sinetta. They had a debate. Shout out to Unc and them. Wasn't only a few people in Sinetta was tight. Only a few people was in the building. They went to debate them European on vaccines. Sinetta upset. Black folk ain't show up. Bunch of Europeans in there. They used to want to talk scholar stuff, vaccines, health, World Health Organization. Sinetta and them in there. A few people in there. He mentioned a couple of cats that was in there, but boy, a whole bunch of folk ain't show up. Some folk just want to hear black folk argue with black folk over stuff that sometimes may not even be that important. And they'll pack out the house. But when it comes to vaccines and that other, that's a whole nother story. Let me come down here and look at some of this stuff now. All right, so it's some heavy stuff. I'm trying to look at specific Muslims enslaved Europeans. What part of the tribe are they? Muslims did enslave Europeans and blacks too. But my thing is, it's so funny because a lot of people, they energy, listen to me, Charles, they energy ain't towards Muslims. They energy towards Europeans, and they energy towards Christianity. Now that's very important right there. Now, Islam, they don't have a beef with Islam, but they got a beef with the Bible. And that's connected directly to that whole New Age thing, back to them cults thing. It's more fake or bootleg Christianity than any other cult on the planet, than any other Islamic cults, than any other cults on the planet. It's more bootleg Christianity than any other cult. Why is that? That's a fair question. That's a fair question. So there's certain things that we don't need. A lot of people are looking now where it's getting crazy. A lot of people are looking and they're saying, even within my church, people that's been in Kojic for years. And some people still dedicated to Kojic, dedicated to being Baptist, dedicated to whatever, but they're looking at certain things and saying, man, I got to come up out of this. This thing isn't right and exact. This thing isn't right and exact. Do me a favor. I need somebody to who's in here? I need somebody to hit me in that thing, because I don't think I have time. Let me look in here. I'm trying to read some of these things at the same time. I definitely don't want to miss none of this stuff here. The breath of life, where am I right now? Y'all know my Ramos, the cult. The breath of life, God sustain all living things. Melanin does not give us the ability to absorb more so. Melanin does give us the ability to absorb more solar energy than other races. Tell me what that means, Ramos. Because I hear a bunch of y'all say that. Tell me what that means right there. I know what you're trying to say. What you trying to say? Black folk more spiritual than white folk? Black folk better than white folk? Because that's a lot of the nonsense that's running around out here right now. And I can show y'all every religion. That's another thing. When you're involved in the cult is the elitists. The deity deals with us. The deity loves us. We the chosen folk. Ain't nobody else chosen. We the great people of the planet. Everybody else is beneath us. All of those are signs of cults. All of that stuff is signs of cults, Rob Moses. That's what I'm saying. There's so many different cults. All different cults use the same tools. All secret societies, if you Freemason, you Rosicrucian, you were elk, they all have different signs and symbols to recognize each other and to relay a doctrine. It may not be the same exact hand sign, the same exact grip, the same exact ritual as the elk, as the Rosicrucian, as Prince Hall, but they all use some of the same stuff. This is when you thump it out with the book, and that's one specific book, because you could thump out with the Quran. You could thump out with Torah only. You could thump out with different things. Somebody asked me about those books. I thought I was going to explain the books because we got Christian Apocrypha, and I see a lot of people going, that Apocrypha got some stuff folk going. But Sunday, we're going to deal with some, I think we'll squeeze that in with that on Sunday. That Apocrypha got some stuff going. Let me try to read something else. They were, let me see. Ro, what he said, the Egyptians thought they were chosen. Of course, the Egyptians for 1,000 years, the Egyptians said they were the chosen race on the planet, and God bless them. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So everybody believed, and matter of fact, and the Egyptians thought that they were chosen. But I'm gonna tell you what, Egyptians thought they were chosen before Israel. Egyptians said they was chosen before Abraham, before there was one Torah, one scroll written from Torah. They was claiming chosen anyway, and they were circumcising. Make sure we got to throw that in. And they were circumcising. So everybody, a lot of people claim this chosenness. Now, when we say chosen in Israel and all of that stuff, what are we saying? Israel is to be a light. We got to explain this stuff because people are going to take it and do more than what the Messiah planned with that book. Because I tell people, when you start dealing with spirituality, you deal with scholarship, racism can have no place. Because we'll fall into the same mess that them Europeans fell into. Look at the size of their brain. Elijah Muhammad and them, the white man brain is 6 ounces, the black man brain. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong in that supreme wisdom. 7.5 ounces or 7.5 and 9 ounces, whatever. The black man got a bigger brain. Black man smarter. All of this stuff, and they were trying to use anthropology and all of this stuff and mixing pseudoscience in there too. That's how come we often talk about inventing now. A lot of these people put some make-believe in there too, so their cult can go on. Oh, behind the comet is the great mothership that Ezekiel was talking about. Behind Halley's Comet, y'all don't even really know the science. They like to throw that word in there. A lot of new cults are throwing that word in there. And there's other things. There's Calvinism. Look at this trouble. Get out of here right now, Aaron. He said, is Calvinism a cult? Major, you heard what he said. He said, is Calvinism a cult? Yeah, some of y'all think Calvinism is a cult. But the problem is when we start dealing with cult and heresy, there was some things, I think y'all using the word too loose. And we're using words like that right now. If y'all don't like Calvinism, y'all gonna say that people is heretical, and historically of Calvinism been heretical, or we just using it now and we got the internet and anybody. I don't like what Major and I'm preaching over there. I'm gonna call them heretics. That's heretical doctrine they got over there. And one thing I can say these days that we're living in, because I got a channel, because I got 70 people in the room right now, I can just say something. I don't got to show and prove. We don't make cult leaders show and prove nothing. And we like what they say sometimes. We just gravitate to it and we don't even want to question it. Wait a minute, what you said, Major and them shaky over there? We ain't showing and proving. We lumping everything. I can't talk about none of that stuff right there, but we got to be careful. Cults do some things. Cults lump everybody together. All them white folk over there. I'm watching. As soon as you start talking about all them white folk, all them cops, as soon as you start talking about all them black women, all them Asians, as soon as you start talking about all them, I got a problem with you right there. I'm watching. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that in there. Somebody got to keep an eye on that. As soon as you start hearing people and they come and they begin their thing with, listen, all you got to do is you finna go to jail. Somebody posted me with that the other day. Once you get to somebody, yo, this is gonna be easy money. All you got to do is you get ready to go to jail. As soon as somebody come around and start talking about all them folk over there, it's a good chance it's a problem. It's a very good chance it's a problem. Dr. Ken Johnson said it was not. Yeah, can believe, yes, can believe that. Can believe that. I think he do. Thank you. At least someone agrees with me. All right, let me see. All right, I'm going down. All right, now this is the thing. They said God created everyone's equal. I think everyone is equal. God created everyone equal. But the problem is we're not equal in the eyes. The poor people aren't equal. Darker hue of people are not equal. That's how come Oprah Winfrey got hundreds of millions. I think she might have been a billionaire already. She went knocking on that door and they didn't want to let her in the store because they didn't know who she was. They had it twisted. These people, because it's for some reason, some people said it's the curse. Now, this is where the prophecy, the self-fulfilling prophecy, this is where the curse comes in right here. Because some people said that blacks were cursed from the ark. The Talmud says that. Hadith say certain things about blacks and they belong. The Klan was teaching certain things about black and you could say what you want all over the world. You got Indian people. That Indian man, I cannot believe that man. That Indian man was just as dark as me. But they say crazy stuff because they don't consider themselves black. You got many Ethiopians running around. They don't want to consider themselves black. They dark as me or darker than me. They don't want to. No. I'm Indian. I'm Indian. You and your mother and all of them. Cubans, some Cubans the same way. Some Cubans the same way, but they'll accept each other. You got Cubans dark like me, light-skinned wife, and it's just, it's a lot of confusion, but some people have put this out here. Who has done this? An enemy has done this thing. So now with so much confusion, you can say what you want, the brown paper bag test. We had beef. Fraternities didn't want dark sororities back in the days. They didn't want dark skin. They only wanted red bones. They only wanted light skinned chicks in the order. And y'all divine nine and y'all secret orders and all of that stuff. Oh, somebody else hit me about that. I don't even think I'm gonna answer that today. They were talking about basically they were saying you can't be a conscious believer and I'm this and that. And I came into the truth. And when they start that conscious talk, that I came into the truth and all of that stuff, I just start scratching my head. I'm gonna tell y'all what, and I've said it 1,000 times, nobody has done more than the Black church for Blacks in this country. Nobody has done more. The conscious community can't see us right now. None of the camps right now can see us. To be honest, the only people that might could see the Black church and they was down with the Black church is Prince Hall and the Divine Nine. Them deltas, them AKAs, y'all could call them alphas and all of them devils, but they have done stuff. They have tried to do some stuff for the community. They've gotten there and tried to make some moves. Now, was that all situated in a certain way because they're part of the boule? That's a whole nother thing. There's too much stuff that I can't discuss. I can't even be on here freestyle. Berean, if white folk in the nation is so spiritual, what he said? I don't know. What progress? We know when progress get to going on. Only Israelites are equal to one another. Oh no, that's a whole nother thing right there. Only Israelites equal to one another. That's a whole nother subject right there. Because you know a lot of even among groups that people are supposed to be equal. It's just human nature. If we were all tall, we would be mad at the fat people, the tall, bigger ones. If we were all short, we would be mad at the skinny people. We just look to separate each other. This is stuff that people do. We just look to do it. Why people do it, I don't know why they do it. They do it just to do it. All right, I'm gonna I want to set something up here already. I want to look at some things. Is Spanish in here? Red Bones and Delta. Yes. Later on, darker ones started coming in, but in the beginning, they were funny about who they were picking and this and that. All right, that's a whole nother thing. What's that brother name? Oh my goodness, what is he said? Oh, he was talking about the racism among Blacks with light-skinned people. If light-skinned people have been our problem also. Oh gosh, I can't remember that brother's name in the conscious community. Video crazy. What is he saying? What is he saying? Let me see. Somebody said you sound racist to me. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know you're talking about me. That's a side conversation. Only Israelites are equal. And to be honest, we can't, and we got to be careful. Even like I said, on platforms now, you can't discuss race anymore. You can't discuss race, and you got people coming, and like the other officer said, rightfully so. You got white people that's upset when Black people start coming together and start talking about color. When melanated people, Hispanic people, and all that darker people start coming together talking about they're not satisfied. That could be people ready to revolt or people ready. You got to keep an eye on those people, and I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. But others would say, Elder Fingers, others would say, who started that stuff? Who started that stuff? But it gets people upset. So certain things you shouldn't bring up. Okay, all right. I'm trying to read here. I'm trying to read something. Oh, got crushed by Pastor Bennett. Oh no, I don't know. I didn't see that right there. I didn't see that right there. Yes, sir. United House of Prayer. Yes, yeah. That's the Lions. Y'all like the Lions in the front of United House of Prayer. We appreciate you, Curry. Let me see. The House of Prayer believe that the prophet is the only comforter. Yeah. And even what's the other brother name that got arrested in Jersey not too long ago? The Camp Cat. Talking about he's all type of religious people. Some people say, listen, and that's where you would hear people like Rob Moses and them. The first thing you have to do when dealing with this spirituality, when coming into your higher self, the first thing you have to do is let go of ego. And then that make people run to the cult, run to the new age. They be like the pastor, they don't let go of their ego, so they get caught up into sleeping with women and this and that and all of that other side. Rob Moses, I know you in here. Let go of your ego and plug into your essence. That's that other talk right there. We're Dr. Aaron there. That's that other talk right there. Because y'all got to learn to come up higher. And it's a whole bunch of other stuff that it's a whole bunch of other stuff that we often get into. Let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna try to send you something. Let me see if this thing work right here. Pastor Major, hit me on Messenger. Oh, I'm not sure if you hopefully you're not in church. Alda said I don't know. I ain't never heard that. You said WD Farber from New Zealand. I know the feds and them was looking at him. Folk don't know, considering that. I don't know where that fraud was from. I don't know where that fraud was from, but we're gonna do something on that. That's not till February, I think. We're gonna do something on different groups like the Nation of Islam, because I think a lot of believers don't know about cults and where certain cults come from. Where the with the history, like I said, I'm gonna spend some time with the history of development of the scriptures, why we don't accept apocrypha and other people do accept apocrypha. We gotta walk people through certain things, and y'all can get all of the stuff that we're gonna be talking about. Y'all can get that Josephus for 99 cents or on the PDF. Josephus said we only bear witness with the 22 books, and their 22 books. That's the same thing as the Hebrew Bible today. The 39 is the same thing. Why King James originally had the Apocrypha and then took it out. Why Jerome translated, with all of that stuff. We got to get into the history of that so people can understand that we never, nobody really never looked at first and second Maccabees on the same level as Deuteronomy. Nobody never did. Never did from the very beginning. But why do people look at certain things now? And then, like I said, people are confused with what we call Christian apocryphal books. There was plenty books hundreds of years later that was written all in the name of not even Thomas and then Mary and everybody else. There were books that were written in those names, and that was just Christian lore. Those were just books that were written, and that's different from apocrypha, and apocrypha is different from Dead Sea Scrolls. So all of that stuff is different. What are you doing right now? We had a meeting the other day. We had a meeting. We sit down the other day, and I seen my man going on, and somebody hit me and thing. They said, "You see the pastors on there? Dropped a video." I said, "All right, I'm gonna see. Y'all just look at that thing right there." When Ron Moses was this. All right, let me see. I'm trying to read. I'm trying to look at my phone and read at the same time. I'm Jewish. Some of my relatives could have been in the Holocaust. Okay, all right. Oh, that must be a Todd conversation. Yeah. Nobody denied the Holocaust existed. The Holocaust went down. It's interesting. We find European Jewish people coming through here. We got other people that follow Judaism. That's a little darker hue, and we often touch on those subjects about Jews and race and Torah and all of that other stuff, and that is very, very offensive to some people, especially in light of that whole thing that went down in Jersey and how the media handles things. A lot of people are upset when we start talking about how the media handle things. Somebody showed me a video where, and I agreed with them. I said, well, I didn't even see that, where some black kids were beating up on the white kids in the back of the school bus. And they was like, Berean, if these were white kids beating up a black kid, it'll be all over the news morning, noon, and night. It would be all over. I agree with that 100%. Do the media give us special privilege? Are we crybabies? Oh, Lord, I ain't gonna bring that up because y'all start getting upset. We ain't crybabies. We don't get enough light. We don't get enough shine and this and that. But a lot of people feel certain things that the media is going to try to quiet instances that we have going on with Europeans. Black people can do certain things, and they're not going to tout it all over the news because don't nobody want to be touched or labeled as racist or sued. And don't want black folk to start picketing and rioting and hollering and talking about they ain't going to Walmart to spend their money and Home Depot and all of that stuff. So some people just fall back from that. I think I'm gonna put that thing inside the. I'm gonna put that thing inside the. Matter of fact, hold on a second. I'm getting ready to jump off, but I'm gonna drop that. I was trying to wait for the pastor to jump on here before we got off. Yeah. Is this right here? Right here? Hello.
What up?
Well, go grace and peace, bro. Well, how's everything, sir?
Grace and shalom. How you doing?
Good. You heard some of what I had, what we were discussing right now. I just wanted to get some of your input. And plus, I saw that video. I saw the video you dropped. We were talking, and then I turned around and I saw a video. I didn't say anything. But what's going on? What's good with you, Pastor? How's everything?
Everything good. I'm just waiting get me something to eat and waiting to eat. So that's about it. I ain't doing too much. Getting ready for tomorrow.
Okay, okay. What y'all got going on?
We got service tomorrow. We're doing a commemoration of the Greek captivity of the Maccabees. So we're doing that tomorrow, dedication. So we're just gonna have a commemoration of that tomorrow, and then that's pretty much about it. Gonna have some fellowship and stuff like that, and hang out.
Y'all get into the Maccabean, the revolt. Y'all get into the whole history.
Yeah, we get into the whole history of it, just a commemoration, of what happened. It's just a rededication of the temple and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. And tomorrow we got a radio show tomorrow as well. So we're gonna be prepping for that.
Tell us about the radio show. I often see you. I didn't know y'all was still getting on there.
Yeah. We in Atlanta. Love 860 AM. It's a Christian radio station here in Atlanta.
There ain't no Christian radio station.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh no. I ain't know there was no Christian station.
It's Christian radio station, man. Definitely some.
You trying to steal the people? You trying to steal the sheep?
Nah, man, it's awesome, man. We dialogue and hang out. It's another brother on there who's, he's trying to find his way as well. When it come down to dealing with accepting the Lord and the Bible and stuff. So he went through some things, but he's the program director, and he all of a sudden kind of became a part of our show, giving us from the perspective. He calls himself he's the self-appointed heathen of our show. So
okay.
So he give it from a real non-religious spiritual perspective. But then there's sometimes that he do, because he grew up Jehovah's Witness, but now he's still trying to find his way. So it's been a great witness to him. He said that since he's been a part of the show and the program director or the engineer of our show, it has brought him back to looking more at the Bible than he did before. So it's a good thing. And we don't even really half the time we get on doctrine depending on how the spirit moving. But majority of the time we talk about world events, things going on. Kanye was a big topic. A lot of Christians called in and condemned him to hell. So
yeah, that's what we love doing now. That's what we love doing.
So
we can't help ourselves.
Yeah, man. So we get a chance, man. If you have time, one of these times, I know you got Sunday seminary and stuff like that. If people they listening, tuning in online as well as it's on the AM state or AM dial. So definitely would love for you. You get a chance where you're schedule free to call in. We talk about
we definitely love to do that. But listen to this. One thing is kind of the problem. I noticed that y'all, like you brought up that you'll be around all type of folk. And people would often associate people. They would often associate people with other people. Now, a lot of us, I understand what you're doing, but to those that don't understand, because instead of me asking you what your doctrine is or going by your page, visiting Boom Church, as opposed to me doing that, I would just see you in a picture. I go to Instagram, church folk, we be scrolling, we be trolling, we be all over the place. I'll go around and I see you with a picture with another brother, and I would start questioning certain things. What do you think is the problem with that? What would you say to people like that seen you in a picture? I think I seen the pictures floating around somewhere, and you were, I'm not sure, it was a flyer, whatever it is. Word is out, you connected some way with the brother Zion Lex, Professor Lex, I call him. Shout out to him. What do you say to people that'll see you in a flyer or see you in a picture with him? Or what do you say to people like that? And they'll automatically attempt to figure out what you're doing, what your doctrine is through another person.
They probably gonna have a bigger issue as well. I'm probably gonna be a Muslim here next, because I got invited by a Muslim brother I know to come and talk about some historical things about heritage and things like that. And so I'll be going to.
Oh, you done. It's over for you. You might as well close Boom Church up. It's over for you then.
But no, I mean, the thing is, man, if anybody know me from the get-go, even when and I don't like to say when I was in the Christian church, because I'm still a part of that arena, even though I'm an Israelite and things of that nature, but I'm a born again believer. with relationships with a lot of people, even in the music industry and things like that. From the very get-go, everybody knew me as Majors the Evangelist. That's I've always been that. Yes, I'm a pastor, I'm a moray teacher, and I'm over an assembly, but our assembly is evangelistic driven. So the foundation of our ministry is 1 Corinthians 9:19 through 23, where Paul talks about I became all things to all men to win some. So when you see me around, you may see me around Muslims, you may see me around Jehovah's Witnesses. My foundation as a believer is solid. I made sure that, and even my upbringing made sure that I've been through it all. I started out Baptist, Southern Baptist, went from Southern Baptist, I went to non-denominational, then I went to Pentecostal, then I went to Kojic, I went to Apostolic, then I turned around and came back with Apostolic Prophetic. All of these things throughout the journey of my life has led me to the point of my assignment in being evangelistic driven. So I'll become all things. I'm not going to compromise what I believe in my foundation in Christ, but how can you win them if you're never around them? How can you win them if you throwing pot shots at them? No different than some people see me around Zion Lex. Well, me and Zion Lex develop a relationship all because he said, "Man, you got a great spirit, man. I have." He hasn't been around too many people like me per his conversation. So my whole thought process is, man, well, if I'm going to follow the blueprint of Christ, then how can I isolate myself? We're called to separate ourselves, but not isolate ourselves. And I think that people miss that point while they're too busy defending doctrinal positions. They're missing the kingdom message. That's what Christ did. And guess what? They said the same thing about him. So Paul's mission and the thing that Paul was doing while being around people and people was questioning his walk and his doctrine, well, he saw the same blueprint that Christ did, being around those that nobody wanted to hang around. And yet I'm willing to take the shots. I'm willing to take all of that to fulfill my mission, because ultimately I'm looking for the well done. I'm not looking for men to co-sign me or men to like what I do. It's not even about likability for me at all. It's about mission. I'm missional minded, and that's what I do. So I'm gonna go up in that mosque, and guess what? I'm gonna have on my kufi, and I'm gonna be dressed just like them. But I'm gonna have a conversation with a lot of the leaders at the mosque about the gospel. And that's what it is. And that's how it's gonna go. If they want to get into, one of the brothers that I know that's in the mosque, he follows me. And so he wanted to be like, talk to them about some of the, the ancient Israelite thing. Cause I kind of believe that, they were melanated people and things like that. So it opens up a plethora of doors for me to talk to people about the gospel. So that's what I do. So if you see me in a picture with an atheist, know this, my whole intent and purpose is to win that atheist. Now, I may not do it, but that's not going to stop me from doing it.
I think a lot of people, I think that's kind of what scares a lot of people. A lot of people would feel, because you're mixing, because, come out from among them, be ye separated. Maybe we took that thing too far. Maybe we took that thing too far right there, because a lot of people believe in that. But I think it's going to be more, people are going to be seeing more and more of that, where people are blending and mingling and talking to each other. But they're so scared that it's going to be some type of ecumenical movement. Everybody's mingling together, and they're mingling and they're compromising doctrine and everything. And this is opening up door for the one world religion. We see the Pope and them doing stuff, and the Indian shamans getting together, and the witch doctors and everybody. And, and some people could be nervous, but I think we're too quick to jump and judge what a person is doing in intent without having to hear them out. And we could be doing this out of, some people may be doing this out of fear. Let me see if there's any. I'm going to see if there's any questions in here while you're talking.
I don't think this type of walk, it may be foreign to the modern day believer, but it's common when it comes down to the kingdom. In the heavens, this is a common thing. It's new to people because of the fact it hasn't been done in so many years, per se. And I'm not saying I'm the one that brought it back. There were people before the internet that was doing this. It's not a compromise of your faith. It's only thing is, it's about being around people. You can't reach people if you're never around them. And also, to be honest with you, but the vast majority of people that I win, or people that opens up the door and asks me to come speak, or people that I don't even get into a doctrinal conversation with. They just say, man, it's something about your spirit, man. It's something about you that people want to be around. And it opens up the door of conversation because I allow the Most High to set up the dialogue. I don't come in saying, hey, yo, what you believe is trash and what you doing is wrong. No, I be around them, win them that way, and then it opens up the dialogue of conversation doctrinally. And then when we do have a doctrinal conversation, it's never from the perspective of where it's that I'm trying to destroy their doctrine. And to be honest with you, I can point them and show them Christ in their doctrine. And so when you deal with the atheist, you don't deal with him based off the Bible, because the atheists don't really believe in the Bible. So you show him Christ through the science in which he believes. And so I think that that's the way that people have to understand in reaching people. People have lost the way of witness and how to reach people. And so when they see it, it looks foreign. But heaven is rejoicing and saying, man, if people would follow what the Spirit, not majors, but follow the Spirit, people would be more effective in their witness. The problem
is that somebody that's Randall asking you, are you nervous about going to the mosque? Is that a question for Pastor? Are you nervous about going to the mosque?
Am I nervous?
Yeah. I'm reading the comments.
No, I'm not nervous about going to the mosque. To be honest with you, I got invited to Pakistan. I did a teaching on Skype in Pakistan with a brother that was there who followed me online and asked me would I come preach to his congregation via Skype. But then they invited me this summer to come preach. They do a crusade with at least 1,000 Pakistani people that are thirsty for hearing the gospel. Now, we did the live video, and there was a brother there who could not walk. They brought the brother to the live Skype. At the end of the message, I didn't have to lay hands on him. I didn't have to do any of that. All I had to do was
these Pentecostals upset. Don't get these Pentecostals upset. God ain't using you like that. Don't get these Pentecostals upset.
At the end of it, and it's on video, it's on my YouTube channel. At the end of it, the brother was walking. Not only that, but there was another young lady that they brought for 3 hours away. Her husband kept trying to have children. They couldn't have children. So we spoken to their lives and got the report back. Recently got the report back that she's now pregnant. So people can say what they want to say. Wow. I'm not here trying to prove anything. And all of this is on video on my YouTube channel if people want the evidence. So people can say what they want to say. You can call me a heretic, you call me whatever. It doesn't affect me. And the thing is, I'm instilling this into our congregation to do the work. Don't worry about what people say. Do the work, because people are going to talk, but don't stop doing the work. If the Most High is with you, then the evidence and the fruit will be manifested, and it will be proven. So you don't have to prove anything. Put the pressure and let the pressure be on God and let him do the proving. You don't have to do any of that. He took all the pressure off of you.
I agree with that. Progress said, but Berean thinks that, what does he say? This is a question, Progress, that white folk can be saved and are good. I think there's none good. No, not one. I don't think there's no righteous folk. I think we all have sinned. That's me personally. That's what do you think about that, Pastor? Before I give you what do you think about that?
Who said white folks can't be saved?
Oh, I think Progress, is that what you're saying here? But I think, yeah, Progress, do you think, apparently Progress, I don't think Progress believes that white folk can be saved and they're good. A few of them. You said a few of them. Hopefully I'm reading them correctly. Go ahead. You want to speak on that a little bit? You have Europeans in your fellowship?
I'll say that. Say what now?
You have Europeans in your fellowship?
I don't have Europeans like directly as members within the fellowship. But we have quote unquote Europeans who have come to teach at our fellowship.
That you get the pulpit too? You share the pulpit with?
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Look, you want me to send you the flyer? Matter of fact,
white
you want me to send you the flyer for James 1:1?
Progress. Listen, where country boy at? I only want a couple of people to talk. Yeah, I'm talking about white folk. Let me hear what they saying. Thing. No, brother, it's a spirit. Oh no,
They're
wait.
white people.
No, no, wait a minute. Some people. All right. No, keep going. I'm trying to read this right here. I want to make sure. Charles did not. All right, that's a side conversation. No, that's a good. That's a good thing right there. A lot of people. So the chart's out the window for you. You don't believe in that chart at all.
Do I believe in the chart?
Yeah.
Hold on. First,
You know what
let
the
me
chart is,
say
right?
this.
I know you know what the chart is. Come on here.
Let me say this. Okay. So it has been identified that the Limbas are from the tribe of Levi, correct?
Hmm?
Okay. How is it that almost 80% of the people in our congregation are Limbas, but
Oh
yet they
no.
in America? Now, according to the chart teaches that the tribe of Judah is in America.
That's right. That's right. The biggest.
So
That's
how
right.
in the world is my congregation? And let me, for the record, for those who are listening, you know, you got those as you call them Bible thumpers in the background, right? No, you do not have to have a DNA test to come to my church. That is not a requirement to be a part of Boom Ministries or Boom Church. No. But when I got my DNA done, and I got my DNA done not for the sake of me needing something to validate. No, I got it for mostly, you know, UA people who say, can you prove it scientifically?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You ain't urban apologist for y'all that don't know. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I got that done for the simple fact when people ask, okay, here you go. So my congregation was like, well, shoot, I want to get mine done. Then my uncle, he like, well, I want to get, he's a Baptist preacher. I want to get mine done. Well, then all of a sudden, everybody started wanting to get their DNA done. And, you know, and it's not for the simple fact, again, I also wanted to be able to leave something for my children, something that my parents, now that my mother know who she is and my father know who he is, you know, and God rest his soul, he's passed, but now I know where I descend from. I can leave this to my kids and they can leave it to their kids and their kids. So when someone asks, what part of Africa you from, or are you from Africa, you know, we're yet in Africa, they be like, yeah, you know, our parents and our descendants are Limba. And my wife got her DNA done, and my wife is a Limba.
Your wife too?
My wife too.
I want to see Carolyn. Hold on. Jesus was all around. Oh, this is what Carolyn is saying. Grace and peace. Jesus was around all types of people, saved and not saved. Okay, yes, I agree with that. There's nothing wrong. I think what he's doing is good. Also being around all different type of people, and I don't think nothing's wrong with that. But a lot of times we do want to separate ourselves based on certain scriptures. Somebody said, Carolyn,
it's
all
cool.
right, go ahead. I'm trying to read. Rodney said I didn't answer what question. I hope Berean does read my question. Where's the question? Type it in there. I'm looking. Go ahead, Pastor.
I mean, I think it is correct. It is correct to separate yourselves, meaning the way the world lives, you should not live according to the world's standards. But he did not call us to isolate ourselves. And this is the thing that the Pharisees had done. They began to isolate themselves, became arrogant, and all these other things. And when Hamashiach came on the scene, he showed how you can be righteous amongst the people without compromising who you are. And when you're righteous amongst the people, and when the Spirit is with you, you don't have to say much. And the people want to change because of your demonstration and because the Spirit is flowing through you.
What company did you use? That's the question out there. I believe that's the question.
Okay, I've used Ancestry. I use Ancestry first. Then I also use,
You more than one?
Yeah, what I used Ancestry to get my lineage and my heritage of my family within the Americas and where they migrated to. Then I use another site for my father's side called DNA Tribes. And then after I use DNA Tribes, then I also use JetMatch and another company as well to be able to trace my father's side. Then there's another company that I use to test if I was a Kohan as well. And so when I did that, the Kohan gene came up and it showed also the direct descendants of Aaron. The same way as the Limba elders that I have over that I talk to all the time. And I talk to my Limba elders almost every day in Zimbabwe.
Almost every day.
Almost every day. Yeah.
Let me hold on a minute. Let me ask you a question. Lucky. I see Lucky said Lucky's Lucky's the guy that said he's Jewish, the European Jewish brother. He said Martin Luther King Jr. would be mad at you black folk right now looking down. I guess from heaven looking down, he would be mad at the conversation talking about race. What would he be mad at? Type what he would be mad at in there. I want to hear from Lucky. Type what he would be mad at.
Oh man.
I told you race is a touchy thing. I wouldn't even touch on that book, but boy, this race thing got folk going. I put that code in Zoom. I mean, I put that Zoom code in for the Patreon people in there. But somebody else said you had a pastor named Dana or something on here, Stevens or something. This thing moving so fast.
Oh well, Dana Stevens, he was one of the brothers. He spoke at James 1:1 as well as Lucas Cameron.
Lucky, he said because we're all supposed to get along. That's why Martin Luther King, that's what his dream. He said, I had a dream. That was a dream. I don't know if them cops running around here shooting folk. I don't know if them cops, I don't know if them cops part of that dream. I would have Martin Luther King would be mad at them. Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
So who's not getting along? That's what I'm trying. You know what? Let me not ask that. There are a few people in the world, in the Americas, that are black and white. They're not getting along. But then there's also a lot of white people that get along with black people.
Lucky, you got Zoom? Well, listen, Perry, you know Perry troublemaker too. Perry said that race is touchy for white. I think race is touchy for well, I don't know. I'm gonna ask you, what do you think? Perry said race is a touchy subject for Europeans to talk about. White people to talk about.
Well, you know what? I think race is
I got that dream too, Lucky. I got that, and I believe that that's God's will that we all get along. But our hearts got to get it right. I agree with you 100%. I agree. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think race is a touchy subject when it comes to white people because they don't want the conversation.
I agree with Perry. Perry said that. I just gave it to you.
I'm just saying. I'm finna tell you. I think that race is a touchy subject with some white people because of the simple fact that they don't want the memories of what their ancestors. You know what? And I don't want to say every ancestor of every white person, because there were some white people who did during the time of the civil rights did get their head blowed off with black folk. Let's be real about that.
That's right. Jewish and everything, Danny. That's right.
Let's be real about it.
They died.
At the end of the day, there are some white people, especially those that are predominantly in the South, they don't want the conversation to come up because you're going to remind them of the benefits that they have because of slavery or because of Jim Crow or because of all of those things at that time. Now, when it comes to black people, race isn't a touchy subject for us because most black people still deal with some form of racism, whether it's physical racism because of the color of your skin or whether it's corporate racism because of the color of your skin. So black people have always dealt with racism. So it's not like it's an uncomfortable thing for us. The issue, I think, is with some black people, with some black people, is that some black people get offended at other black people because they act as though that some black people aren't supposed to feel some kind of way because of what happened. And they want you to totally forget about it. And so I think that when it comes down to salvation, yes, there's a conversation that we can have, but also there's a practical element as well that we deal with in this world when it comes down to dealing with corporate racism and also those who are being straight out racist to people because of the color of their skin outside the corporate structure.
Okay, all right. Anybody else in here? I'm trying to look and trying to read some of these comments. Some people do feel if you just let it go, if you don't talk about it, and things are even getting worse now because y'all dealing with DNA and y'all bringing this conversation into God and all. It's too much. It's too much. It's just not right. Plain period. Y'all didn't even invent DNA, but a lot of people don't like that DNA stuff. A lot of people don't. I'm gonna tell you that right now. A lot of people don't like that DNA stuff. Grace,
well, you know what? I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get ready to roll, brother Berean. Here's the thing. Right, bro. They don't like it. They don't like it because of the conversation that's being had when it comes down to nations, right? But they don't have no problem with DNA when it comes down to convicting that dude who killed their mama. They ain't got no problem with that. They ain't got no problem with that now. They don't have no problem. They don't say, no, don't bring DNA to the equation because he killed my mom and God gonna handle it. No, they don't say God gonna handle none
No,
of that.
they want to, yes. They want this
They
thing handled.
want justice, and that DNA company or whoever, they all legit. I hear people saying all the time, oh, well, the DNA, Israelites and Christians saying, well, that DNA, you can't trust it. You can't this and do that. But guess what? The DNA has a hellified conviction rate when it comes down to getting some of these jokers off the streets. Now, you can't have it both ways. Don't come saying you want DNA to convict somebody who raped your daughter, but yet when it comes down to dealing with DNA, when it comes down to the conversation within the church, don't say, well, we can't have it, we got to throw it out. You can't have it both ways. I'm sorry.
But listen, transitional walk, somebody said DNA has nothing to, and this is what it always goes back to. DNA got nothing to do with the gospel. If it wasn't religious black people doing DNA, would it be better? Would it be better, son of God? Would it be better? Because a lot of people do bring that up. I can't lie. A lot of people bring up when you start mixing DNA and the gospel, they say them two things do not go hand in hand. This is a problem, Houston. We got a problem.
Let me say this. The only people have a problem with it. DNA has nothing to do with the gospel, okay? Let's agree with that, okay? DNA has nothing to do with the gospel because it does not matter if you are genetically an Israelite or you genetically a Gentile. According to the Bible, all kind of folk gonna be in hell. So
y'all heard that?
Get that
y'all
understood.
Heard that right
so
there.
When we have a conversation,
go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm reading. Go ahead.
When we have a conversation about science and we act as though science, that the Bible is not even scientific. We act as though that these things are foreign when it comes down to the conversation. When we talk about the gospel, of course, we're talking about souls. At the end of the day, when we're talking about a conversation about DNA and all this other stuff, it's nothing wrong with having a conversation about DNA. Now, the problem comes in if you start mixing and making people think or trying to present a gospel with the DNA that you're more superior because of your DNA outside of salvation. That is the problem that we're having. But if we just having a conversation, say, Berean, you know what, man, I'm a limber and this, that, you know, I know where I come from, you know, a tribe of Israel, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, we having a conversation about that. But now if you ask me, hey, Majors, does that guarantee you salvation in the kingdom? I'm gonna say absolutely. I almost said H-double-L, but absolutely no. It has nothing to do with it. But people want to push that narrative because of the fact that if we always knew scientifically that every black person was a Gentile, because this is what they're trying to say. They want to say that every white person is not Esau, but then they want to say every black person is Ham. You can't have it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have it both ways. And y'all know my position. Esau wasn't the white man. So
wait a minute. Progress. He got to go. But look what he gonna say. Say it again.
I'm about to go. I want to drop that bomb and I'm out of here.
All right, go ahead.
Esau, y'all know that Esau, and we can prove this biblically, Esau is not the white man, okay? So all that other stuff, let's get that stuff up out of here. Let's stop even having the conversation. In fact, I'll say this. We shouldn't even be talking about no doggone Esau when it comes down to the gospel, for the simple fact, Hamashiach never even talked about Esau.
No, he didn't. That's right. You read that book again. That's right.
You can show me one verse where he talked about Esau. Matter of fact, our beloved brother Paul never even said anything about Esau, but one time, and that was a proof of point, which had nothing to do when it comes down to dealing with the preaching the gospel. Had nothing to do with it. So Paul ain't talking about Esau in his letters. Hamashiach ain't talking about Esau in the four Gospels.
And Esau running around preaching Esau every Sabbath like Esau means something. That ain't the book.
Man, bro, and you know what? Some of them might be Esau.
And some of them, you gonna get out of here, man. Let me put him out.
I'm out of here.
I'm gonna put him out. How I put him out here? Remove him. I gotta remove him. I hit that button. I wonder if he gone. I got him out of there. Listen to this. Somebody said, the body of Christ should be the leading example of a person or a people. Listen to this, Baker. The body of Christ should be a leading example of a person or a people that let go of a person's past and judge accordingly. Y'all hear that? I'm just reading some things. I'm just putting it out there. Baker said, I think part of the issue is that either side of the color spectrum, the color people want to remember what is important to them, but not acknowledge what has been sacrificed. It costs on both sides. Perry says the problem is that that whole race thing is fake. I agree with that right there. That whole race thing is fake, but it's played as a major role colonizing a brown people minds, and it has us acting stupid. He said some stuff right there. Why he talks so much about DNA. He don't talk a lot about DNA. He mentioned it 4 times since he's been on here. A lot of people who look like a lot of y'all hate that DNA stuff. I seen even Progress said DNA is fake. I mean, garbage. What did he say? Ask, wait, let me see. I just missed something. The whole thing done jumped. It just said, Kyle, I'll tell him the truth. The Bible is spiritual, and those that pick it up and believe it must worship the God of it in spirit and in truth. Oh, no. All right, Progress. You talking good there. You talking good. You talking good. This beautiful truth said that Israelites need to focus on the gospel message. That's true. Israelites, yes, as opposed to Esau and all of that other stuff. And that's what gets people afraid. That Esau nonsense, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Now, I don't even hear people using DNA all the time, DNA. I hear people using that Esau all the time. Who is Esau? You got to know who Esau is and all of that stuff. And even when people are saying you got to know your nationality. You got to know your nationality. What your nationality got to do with that ain't got to do nothing with nothing. But who invented the DNA thing? Let's talk about that right there. This 23andMe and who started that? And people, they putting it out there. Israelites ain't start putting that out there. People have been putting it out there, but now that people are discussing certain things, so it's like some people can't free their minds that DNA has nothing to do with salvation. I'm convinced Bible thumpers, I'm gonna tell y'all, listen, I'm gonna get out of here, Mike Shaw. I'm convinced Bible thumpers hear what they want. They hear what they want. They don't care what major came on here and here. A said A, B, and C, and D. The Bible thumpers ears already heard something else, and they already over there texting. They already over there texting and sending messages. Spell my name right when you send the message. All right, we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna put that on. I think I put that Zoom link down in there. I put y'all see I put that Zoom link in that Patreon thing. I'm gonna upload that other video. I hate to do it on that subject there because some people are just running around. They just running around here. They just running around. Y'all seen that Patreon group? I put that link in there. A lot of people just running around here and they're just upset. It's certain hard conversations. There's just certain hard conversations that people can't have. And they'll do and say anything. And once you start pushing me too much, telling me, why are you talking about that? Why are you talking about that? Why are you talking about you pushing it so hard? Why you don't want me to talk about it? See, I remember I told y'all one of the signs in the cult is they don't want critical thinking. They don't want you to question nothing, because that's how we started off. That's what we started off talking about, Bible thumpers, cults, and how cults just move around and try to control you. Follow what I say. Follow what I say. The charismatic leader. You got to follow what the king said, what the boss said, what the chief apostle said, what the general said, what the archbishop said. You got to follow what he said. Don't question nothing. Then people start talking more about him than they start talking about Christ and all of that. And all of that stuff is some problems in there. Let me just see. Oh, all right. I just want to make sure before I get why did God said that he loved Jacob and loved Esau. Who is Esau? No, we're talking about like how people is preaching on Sunday about Esau and Edom, the end of Edom, and all of this other stuff. And is that the gospel message that the apostle preached? He brought out a very good point. Did Jesus talk about running around here talking every time and it got to Jesus never said nothing about Esau. And if Jesus preached a certain message about the kingdom at hand, and the kingdom is at hand, and you don't have to mention Esau, that means you can preach the kingdom without preaching Esau. Without preaching Esau. What, Berean, what is your mission? My mission is to tell the truth, to let people come together and talk. Like you see people in here that have different opinions, that's important. Pentecostals just started recently talking to Baptists, if they even do talk to them. Sure enough, ain't talking to 5%ers. And my people, and my mission is to equip people with the conscious community is teaching. That's what my mission is. Listen, I'm Pentecostal. That's what I am too. But I build with Israelites. I build with Freemasons, Moors, mystics, 5%ers. I'm not going to hell for talking. It's all right. It's all right to talk. I don't think nothing's wrong with talking. But a lot of people get nervous. And like everybody in here have their opinion. It's good to have an opinion. People come here, and a lot of times people, like I notice a lot of people, Israel, they join in my thing and they feel like they could just tell me the right thing. Y'all listen, can't nobody, I'm too old for that. Can't nobody convince me, like, listen, this is the whole truth. You almost there. You ain't got the whole truth. Come into the truth. Freemasons, everybody tell me that. You almost there, brother. I seen the video you saying this. Yeah, I'm right where I need to be. I'm right where I need to be. What you said, Berean, are you a church member and do you think Hebrew Israelites are the fastest growing religion? No, the fastest growing religion, according to statistics, is Islam. And the main reason that Islam is the fastest growing religion is Islam. They ain't having no abortions. They having babies, they're getting married, they're getting multiple wives, and the religion is growing, and it's growing because of birth. Now, if you're talking about growing in America with African Americans and people in America looking into this DNA and looking into this stuff, I can say that a lot of people are looking into it more than what people think. And that's what I want to do, wake up the church folk and let the church folk know y'all can say what y'all want. People are talking this race thing. That's how come I try to urge the apologists. Listen, don't separate, y'all can't be bunching these people together, because so many people are looking at what people are saying. Urban apologists, I try to tell them, listen, a lot of people are listening, y'all. A lot of people are saying stuff, so I constantly drop videos. Don't bunch these people together. Don't do this, don't do that. Make sure people know the doctrine that these different people believe when you saying people name out your mouth. Make sure you do that. And people haven't been doing that. And that's kind of why I got to hold back with this book release and all of this stuff now, because the waters done got a little bit muddy. Done got a little murky, with stuff and people saying people names and people out here and saying that person ain't orthodox and this and that, not even knowing people. It's kind of backfiring on people. So I think it's a quiet time right now. Everybody still want to be quiet and just see if the thing blows over or whatever. I don't know, folk doing whatever. But it's, it is what it is. It is what it is. And, I think with any type of movement and stuff, things are going to happen like that. Once the movement start getting traction, you got to remember there's patterns in it. Judas is going to be there. So Judas is going to be in the midst of us. It's going to be snitches with Martin Luther King and all of them. When Malcolm got killed, the COINTELPRO agents was there. So they're going to come around. They're going to listen. People are going to try to bring in confusion whilst others are trying to work the thing out. And then on the other side, you got people that's totally dedicated to the movement. People are going to come and try to destroy it, and people are going to come and try to hinder it, try to shut it down, and all of this stuff. Not saying I'm part of no movement, but just part of being out here and talking and sharing, and stuff is going to happen. And stuff got to get sideways. We just got to be more vigilant and just try to make sure we understand people don't misrepresent nobody else. That's Berean's whole thing. Don't misrepresent the Freemasons. Don't misrepresent the Israelites. Just don't misrepresent. That's all it is. Say what these people believe. And if not, don't speak on it like you're an expert. Just don't speak on it. I'm not sure, or I'll look into that, Anybody, if you were Israelite, if you were urban apologist, say be like, I'm not sure. I'll look into that. That's a good point you brought up, brother. I'll look into that. You don't have to just get on here and just act like you got all the answers and then misspeak. And everybody can misspeak, but then you can't hear somebody that says something like that. Pastor just got on here and he said A, B, C, and D, and then somebody else go turn their camera on and they just gonna say what the devil they want to say when they just heard the man say A, B, C, and D. That's what you get convicted in court for. You get convicted or not convicted off of your testimony. If people say this, don't turn around and go say that because you're looking like a devil. And now your quote unquote good is going to be evil spoken of. Berean, no. I ain't like I know nothing. I don't know nothing. I'm going to give me some chicken wings. My coffee done ran out. All right, let me see. I think nobody else came up in here. All right, I hit the thing on Patreon. I done hit y'all with that code two times, I think. But I don't see nothing happening. So I'm going to go and try to see if I can upload that other video. Give it an hour. If I don't see no hate mail, because I start getting them hate mail. Y'all start talking about that DNA. I heard somebody say, because it's cuss words now. You can't say certain words, it's cuss words. You can't say it. They said that word again. They said that word, It bothered them. I love you, Berean. It's not an argument. No, it's not an argument. No. Oh, yeah. Oh, same here, Progress, man. We enjoy seeing you. Rob Moses, everybody. The DNA, issue, nationality, and ethnic identity pushes our distractions to move people away from the power of the gospel. And a lot of people believe that, Charles. A lot of people believe that, but a lot of people don't. Could it be a ploy of the enemy? Like I said, when people talking about this big great awakening, either there's a great awakening or it's one of the greatest deceptions. And we got a lot of people in the church saying there's a deception, but if it's a deception, they got to come out here and they got to explain how it's a deception, why it's a deception in light of the book and all of that other stuff. You know, that's and there's nothing wrong with that. But once again, how if we're not going to talk about it, you can't tell folk like you telling them kids don't look underneath that bed, don't go to that website. You can say what you want. You can't stop people from talking. And we got some church folk that think if they don't discuss it, it's not going to be discussed, and it's getting discussed and it's growing. People got family members arguing at cookouts, people constantly leaving the church. Say what you want, stuff is happening. So if it's the devil, prove it's the devil. Just can't get up here and say, oh, it's the devil. They left the church. That pastor's son left the church. He joined the camp. Don't say it's the devil. Show it, prove it's the devil. But know what you're talking about when you're doing it, because other people are watching. And when other people see, turn around and see that you said it's A, B, C, and D, and then you're following this news coverage and that and this, and you're trying to do certain things, make sure you don't get to lumping everybody together, because we're just as bad as the Klan. All black people ain't nothing. Or just as bad as what how the nation started, all white people are devils, and you fall into that same thing, and people are a little smarter than that now. And people are catching people out there with stuff that they're saying, be it Israelite, be it the camps, be it people involved in urban apologetics. People are catching people out there. People going back on videos, time stamping, go to 11 minutes, go to 1 hour, 11 minutes and 18 seconds to see what he said. A, B, C, and D about the DNA, about the gospel, about nationality. We got to be careful. People are pulling stuff up and they hitting me with stuff and showing me stuff that people are saying, and we're seeing it. And if people would have just been on some, listen, let's make sure we're not lumping everybody together, it wouldn't have been a problem. And for some reason, it's just some sickness, and some people are still doing certain things, you know. And they just, listen, people drawing attention to themselves about what they're doing. I'm gonna do what I do over here, but it's happening. So we got to be aware. And those that are involved in putting in work on the internet, talking to people and recommending books and commenting and having dialogue. I'm involved with a bunch of people that's online having dialogue with a lot of people, and say what you want to say. There are some people that's making moves and they're doing wrong things, but some people are really reading books and doing what they're doing. So when they conversate with other people, they'll be respectful and they'll bring out their points. You know, people studying philosophical arguments and everything. They're doing some good stuff and they're really getting it in. And we just want to make sure that we're doing right in our conversating. And of course, we know Bacon. Some people just want to win an argument, you know, and this is just how it is. Country Boy said God never said that Christianity was the way either. That's why a lot of people are looking into Christianity. Some people feel that they just fighting, they just fighting, they just fighting. Did the religion become known as Christianity later on? Is it the same religion that Christ and the apostles preached? And people are arguing that stuff. Holiday time. I'm under pressure right now, so I can't even bring up no Christmas tree and stuff like that, because I done promised these folk I'm not gonna bother folk. You know, I'm not gonna bother folk about that, but it's a lot of stuff, and people are talking. You know, people quick to say, oh, well, that's a Pharisee, this, that's a Pharisee, that, when all they got to admit is no, Christ and them didn't have a Christmas tree. You know, we're the first couple of 100 years, we don't really see nobody celebrating Christ's birthday and just keep it moving. But no, they're going to fight for a thing, and all this stuff can kind of cause problems. And what needs to be clarified by all is that there's a difference between woke and quickened. Quicken mean made alive. Well, I don't know. I got to see how Paul using that, what you call it in Ephesians 5:14, like how people, as far as woke Christians, use that term. You know, people got a lot of beef with a lot of stuff. When we start talking about certain stuff like that, folk don't even bother me, because they've been touching their neighbor and doing all that nonsense. And now folk got feet to ground, and folk out here talking about stuff. When you got all them other good folk over there, John MacArthur, Jay, you got all them other good folk over there want to talk about nothing. They don't deal with the issues me and certain people deal with, and we gonna deal with it. And ain't no other devils finna come up in that cipher and try to shut that down, because the devil has always done that. Them devils have always done that, and there's dark devils too, and they're not going to do it, and we don't accept it. So we're gonna move on with the conversation, and they can't control folk talking. They could try to thwart the conversation and this and that, but I shuts all that down. I don't receive none of that in the name of the King. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. I'm gonna put that link in there. Let me see if I see anything else. All right, my Patreon people, I try to hit y'all with the, let me see. All right, let me see. All right, wait a minute.
I'm in here.
All right, wait a minute. I'm gonna get a flow. Perry, you've been saying some slick stuff. Because you know Dr. Aaron along with it. Come on, Perry. You got the floor, bro. I'm gonna read some of these comments. Go ahead. I see you made a couple of comments up there earlier. Go ahead, bro. You got the floor.
Oh, I'd have to actually open it up. I'm on my phone at a barbershop. I got to step out.
Oh,
Hold
no,
on.
no, no. Oh, we got mute you. Come on, Dr. Aaron. You come on. Oh, we got mute him. He up there talking. He done jumped on and he done talking. Christ learned. Let me read some of this. You got your headphones on? All right, he might have walked away too.
No, I'm on here.
Okay,
on.
go. All right, go ahead. You heard some comment. You've been on here for a little while. You want to comment on anything you heard? Whilst I'm reading here.
So I heard a lot of stuff.
Anything you want to comment?
I don't even know. I just feel like there's a lot of confusion happening amongst a lot of people. In my opinion, I think a lot of it is due to people. They formulate a lot of doctrine around a lot of different things, but what I feel lacking the most is the doctrine of the church, right? And in terms of systematic theology, I feel like that's left out. Most people that have all these different disagreements don't talk about that. So
Okay,
that's just
hold
kind
on
of
a second. All right, hold on a second. Y'all do know this guy right here. He's of the Presbyterian persuasion. Well, you know, a lot of people in church, a lot of African Americans are charismatic Pentecostals. We look at certain things in a certain way, but I can't even when you get into the depths of that, it'll get into the whole the whole thing with, church and who's teaching what type of theology and is there, and that whole conversation with James White and them that, far as that comment that he made about the African American church. And I'll tell you, you can't talk about anything these days. People get touchy. Is he right with that? Is he wrong? Should the church be teaching more history? Should we be doing more teaching and less praising and jumping and dancing and touching our neighbors? Not saying everybody do that, but it's crazy. Go ahead, brother.
But I think the biggest issue is that it's a topic that the Bible speaks heavily on. So whether you talk about it or not, Scripture still references it, and whether people are comfortable, because it's easy to form doctrine around what you personally believe and what you feel the Scriptures say, but when it comes to biblical authority within the church, that's a whole different topic. And because that's the thing that most people are running from it right now, is because they don't know the marks of a true church or what's the role of the church in the life of the believer. Everyone just skips over it, and I feel like that's one of the topics that's skipped the most in everything that we've talked about, especially in the chats. Most people are not even addressing that. It's almost like it's non-existent. That like there is no doctrine of the church, or there is no laid down perspective that the apostles had. So that's just my opinion. I feel like that would lead a lot of people to have to discuss what's truth, what's not, and how do we live amongst each other as believers, right? It's much easier to point over to somebody else and say they're not Christian.
Do you think that's right, that people will point and say, well, who's Christian, who's Orthodox, what's heresy, and all of that other stuff? Because I'm gonna tell y'all. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Answer that question.
And so I would say that you can't say that if you're not. So you can make that claim, but unless you're under some form of church government that brings you to personal obedience in some way, shape, or form, it's easy and to slap that label on everybody else. That's an easy label and to slap, and to say that this person ain't teaching the truth, but yet you remain unexamined in your own theology and thoughts. So that's my take on that. There's just no way to say it, because even the apostles, they went down in the book of Acts and examined to see if people who were the faith actually were.
That's why they came to
exactly
Peter, and then when he came on the scene, he wanted to make sure what was happening was right and exact.
Yeah,
and
even Paul
on it. Yes,
and even Paul, after having had all the visions, spent time with the Holy
Spirit,
Spirit,
had to go. That's right.
Still came to them, and so that they could bear witness. Okay. And so there was still authority that had to be laid down. Right, there has to be some type of examination of the belief of each individual believer, regardless of how much they claim. So that's kind of my perspective. A lot of people saying a lot of things, but how many have subjected themselves to the church, whatever they may call that, right? It's that has to be examined. What does scripture say about a biblical church, right? You can say a church is unbiblical all you want, but you still have to formulate what is biblical. You can't always define things by negative. You have to make some positive affirmation of what something is at some point, or at least define a parameter that a biblical church must contain these things, may have some other elements, but cannot lack these things, right? You have to formulate something, because the Bible formulates something about it. So that's just kind of my perspective of it.
All right, I have myself muted. Listen, y'all, he don't want to say it. He feel a lot of folk running around here don't know the church, don't know the true church, and don't know the word. He feel even a lot of churches may not know the church and know the word. Is that what you're saying? That I said, and said I break stuff down in a different way. Is that what you believe? Matter of fact, I'm asking you another way. Do you agree with what James White said? The black church, you got a lot of ignorance in the black church. I'm freestyling it. That's what you believe that, don't you?
So I believe the whole context. I think there's a lot of ignorance in all churches, and I believe that the black church, quote
more
unquote,
so,
whatever you want to call that. I wouldn't say more so. When you say more so, I would say, and I would say per capita, right? Because I mean, for us, when you talk about church in terms of things, church history has been left out a lot. And this is coming from someone who was a licensed minister to preach in a church that was like that. Church history is not something that's taught. Most things that are taught are based off of
the denomination, how we move.
But not just that. I mean, the whole concept of immediate revelatory experience, right? So the understanding in a lot of churches, depending on where you're moving at, is that I can open up my Bible as a believer, and I can immediately download revelation.
Yes, that's correct.
And that's it. That's it. What I say God spoke to me about topically, and what I saw, you can't tell me any different.
That's right. And that's
you
how
can add to it.
And from when we get saved, that's how a lot of people are taught to do it. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. So that's where a lot of the teaching comes from. Now, you won't find that in any of the Methodist churches, right? But their form of church government is different, which is why I say the whole doctrine of the church, right, becomes an important factor, because depending on how you organize the church, what your view of the church is, it depends a lot on how things are going to be preached in the pulpit, what the members' responsibilities are, and all those things, right? So that's why I say that's important, because depending on your doctrine of the church, it depends on the dynamic of the relationship in between the pulpit and the pew, right? And that's an important aspect of it, because if I, as a believer, can say whatever I want to say that God told me, and you can't question that as an elder in the church because of how we believe God speaks, then how do I get disciplined? When am I wrong, right? And that's a question that has to be asked. When am I wrong? That's the issue. So I would say that happens across all denominations, right? Or all races that share in denominational affiliations. But I would say
Morrell said true. Or the chat said emotions, prosperity, and name it and claim it. It's not just that. I think a lot of times we don't believe that history, sometimes history carries the truth. So we open it up and like, listen, my revelation, because we're moved off of sensationalism. A lot of people would say, like the Pentecostal in me is like Dr. Aaron and them, they want to lock you into the book, and they don't want to act like I got the Holy Ghost and I can't get dreams and visions and understanding of what the text is saying and God's speaking to me right now. They want to just lock you into the text and history.
I never said that.
God has spoken in the past and he ain't speaking no more, and he got to only speak out the book. And a lot of people have an understanding that are under the impression that he's speaking right now, even in the book, and he's speaking through the book, even though it's out of context. But it seems that he was referring to Israelites, the woke movement. I don't know what y'all talking about. A lot of people hear what they want to hear. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I was just saying, I mean, I'm, and so again, and for me, and it just boils down to at a starting place. And I feel like we can disagree on a lot of third and fourth matters of importance, right? But I just don't see anybody in the chat, at least, that has expressed any.
Oh, the chat somewhere else. I'm looking at chat a whole somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just saying in the doctrine
That's
of the
why you're
church,
talking. I'm trying to go back looking.
and I just think in the doctrine of the church, I just think that if people made a positive and discussion about that, I think we might get somewhere. That's just me. That's just me.
All
I
right,
think
you want to answer a question or two?
if I can, hold on, I got to pull it up because I'm not even looking at the chat.
You're not home?
Give me a second. No, I'm home, but I'm not looking at the chat anymore. Like
No. I
I
don't know
gotta
if there's a question. These are some comments that I'm just bringing out here. Christianity is not God's religion. Holiness is God's religion. What would you say to that? That's a statement. I want you to speak on that. What would you say to that?
So it says Christianity is not God's religion. Holiness is God's religion.
That's right. What would you say to something like that?
I would say that you need to explain that more.
Okay.
That's just a statement, but it's nonsensical to me. Like you haven't defined what Christianity is, and you haven't given holiness a context. So, but they're going to say that you have to say more.
Somebody else said we have to start spreading the love of Christ. All right, because I'm trying to go back to look at some of the conversation. He said, I got it. All right, go ahead. All right, go ahead. You can talk. Go ahead. Whilst I'm trying to.
You just want me to rant. That's what it is.
You're good at that. Come on, man. It's all right. That's all right. I see that God is.
Now I'm trying to get out of that habit.
Oh, okay. You trying to get out of that? Let me see. All right.
Hold on. Let me pull up YouTube so I can see some of these things here.
Country boy, I'm confused. What he said, country boy, according to you, I'm confused. All right, these are side conversations. I just want to make sure. True Aaron, look, chat said, True Aaron, how can we entice people to attend church to learn the word and learn church history and what the Bible says? What's the hook? All right, do all right, touch that right there. You hear me?
Okay, so what's the hook? How do we entice people?
You see what the chat said? That's almost the last comment.
No, I'm still trying to pull up YouTube. I might just have to grab my phone because my computer's acting funny.
Listen, she said, True Aaron, how can we entice people to attend church and learn the word and learn church history and what the Bible says? What's the hook? How can you get people in there and teach them? What's your solution? That's what she's basically saying right there.
See, that's
now come on now.
Hey,
now let me hear pontificate on that one.
Hey, a hook. All right, so I'm extremely opposed to gimmicky things, right? So I don't believe in trying to lure people into the church or bait them. What I believe is if you preach the gospel, right, and you evangelize, and that what I find effective is that you find that you bring all of life subject to the gospel. So that means to the person who's into philosophy, learn a philosophy, right? There's some people who are philosophically drawn to Christianity. There's some people who are scientifically drawn to Christianity. I think that all those things are windows into the gospel in a sense of natural revelation, right? So these are things that I think are apparent in nature, things like that we can appeal to and reason with people. But I don't think there's an actual hook to get anybody into the church. I think that and the Holy Spirit is the one that draws people ultimately. But I think there are ways in which you can relate effectively. For instance, me being in the military, right? It's a whole different ball game. I find that what's appealing is that I work out of view of ethics, right? And I make an appeal to ethical norms and things like that, which is ideal to people who have to follow regulations, are looking for right and wrong in a consistent way, and to see the world and make choices, right? So I have to confront things about, well, at what point is it lawful to take a life, right? Just law theory, right? Which has been formulated in the church. There's been discussions on that by Augustine, right? So that's a way that I've had to approach it. Things I wasn't privy to before that, right? But church history has allowed me to delve and see how Christians before have dealt with law, right? And war and things like that, which to somebody in the military is extremely appealing. Now I have to be careful not to make that a gospel issue, right? And to still preach the gospel and not try to bring people in and say, well, everything Christianity has to offer will give you an answer on this particular topic. But I think it's a good gateway. I think it depends on the person that you're dealing with. I think if you look at the life of Paul, right? Paul, when he's on Mars Hill, right? he appeals to a lot of their teaching, right, to what they knew about the unknown God. And he says, well, the unknown God, this one God that you don't have a name for, you know, I have the answer to that question. So I think that that's a good way, but you have to know what holds up a person's worldview, right? What do they believe? Why do they believe?
You're not on the computer.
No, I'm not.
Okay, all right. No wonder. Go ahead. All right.
Okay. Was there something I missed?
Oh no, I don't. I just stepped away for a second. And I come back and I'm looking at the what you call it. Yeah. It's a lot going on in here. It's a lot going on in here.
Wait, let me pull up my phone. I'm looking right now.
I don't even know if you would. Let me see. Let me see. Where can I even begin? Somebody said you can't be holy and Christian. Holy means separate. Christian is a religion that teaches inclusion. I don't know what book you getting that from. What book are these folk reading here? Where that coming from?
Oh, that sounds crazy.
Now, are some people running around here talking about that inclusion got everybody going running amok? Oh, of course, but that's once again everybody got the same problem. That must be human nature, lumping everybody together. They'll hear Jake say one thing, and all of a sudden Jake speaking for the 2.3 billion. Every Catholic, Jake speaking for everybody. It's the same thing. Like they're saying, even with the urban apology, it's the same thing. Everybody gets that's human nature. Every single cop is a devil that's lying on the police report and killing folk. Every single cop. Every single Asian is smart. This is just what we do. People just can't even help themselves.
So I see some person said, Freddie Jackson said there is too many demographics on this platform to start at the church.
Hold on, Rodney. No, hit Rodney. Rodney said, Berean, why is it that Israel and the church are at odds? Israel, I think, or matter of fact, I'll let you answer that. I don't think Israel and church are at odds. Aren't we reading the same book? Can someone please answer this question? Perhaps there are no true answer. If Israel and the church are, well, I don't know. It depends. Your view is a little different on Israel. But the church haven't been dealing with Israel right now because many believe that this is the time of the Gentiles. Some people feel that this is a time of shift, and that's why some stuff is going on. That's one. You go put it out there theory. Nobody wasn't talking about. Listen, listen. I'm 50. A couple of years ago, 30, 35 years ago, nobody in church wasn't talking about Israel at all. Besides Israel out there being a nation, them Europeans, wasn't nobody talking about no Israel as far as black Israel and black people saying they're Israelites. Now you're seeing in these last 10 years, and we got internet, now you're seeing a whole bunch of stuff coming up with that right there and people discussing certain things. So I jumped on it. I said, listen, don't lump all of them together. We got people involved out here in apologetics and all of that stuff. Now we're seeing some stuff going on. But Messianic's been. I remember 30 years ago, Messianics been rocking out with the church, coming through, like I said, teaching on the Passover and stuff and all of that stuff. Not so much blending because they consider themselves Jews, but they come through, like Ken Johnson said, they come through and they'll teach, this is what we believe, this blase, and all of that stuff. But it's two different cultures, two different customs. For the most part, there's plenty of people like Jews for Jesus. They've been rocking out. I remember them from 70s. I remember them from 70s.
Mm-hmm. You've been around for a long time.
They've been blending. So a lot of this stuff is new. Don't think a lot of this stuff ain't, it's just jumping on, right now. And for the most part right now, most people that I know go to church. Some Israelites will park up in front of the church like Hezekiah Church over there in Brooklyn on Liberty. You'll see some of the guys, the Purple Brothers out there. You see some of the Purple Gang out there in front of the church. I've seen them a couple of Sabbaths being out there trying to dialogue with people here and there. But for the most part, that thing is a recent phenomenon. And you got the Israelites getting Boulder camps, parking out in front of churches and challenging believers and calling out the church and all of that. And it's coming to some type of head. That's how I look at it. Go ahead, Dr. Aaron. You may want to share something on that before I jump out of the he's not in the States too. Remember, he's not in the States, y'all. He don't see a lot of this stuff unless he see it on YouTube. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah,
I don't think they know that.
And I'll just say, Israel and the church at odds. I think you'd have to point out who's at odds, right? In particular, it's not all the church is at odds with Israel. I don't
Now
And then you have
remember
to
when
define what you consider the
these
church
folk in
as.
here talking about Israel, they ain't talking about them folk over there. They're not talking about Orthodox curly hair. They're not talking about them Jewish people over there. They talking about black folk like that guy that just came off here major. They talking about them camps. They call them ISUP. They talking about all of them folk. Most when
Yeah,
you hear people in here talking about Israel, they talking about black people that believe that they are Israelites.
yeah, I got that. I just think it's theological and hermeneutical differences, right? Nobody's bothering to understand what the other person actually believes fundamentally. So I think a lot of the language is like two ships passing in the night, right? What one person is saying, what the other person is saying, it sounds like they're saying the same thing, but they're not really saying the same thing. They mean something different. So when they make certain claims, they're some things I will say like this. Theologically, what Israelites in this context, as we're talking about, has brought up, has been a non-question for a long time.
That's correct.
So it's very easy to have theological blind spots and questions that you may not even feel you need to answer because it's already been settled, especially those who have a different view of church history, right? So I may view something as already settled and not even on the table for discussion anymore, while you're saying this is still current and a valid issue that hasn't been worked out, or at least not worked out satisfactorily, right? So I think that's where a lot of it boils down to, is that there's theological blind spots. There's things that aren't even questions anymore because the matter is viewed as settled, right? So that's how I think you have a lot of this discontentment, and people view history different, like the church fathers. And again, people use them in many different angles. You can twist what one says. I mean, there's some people who are dispensational, right? And I think a lot of Israelites are, from what I can tell, kind of from their doctrine, so to speak, that they're dispensational in certain
Yes, so
aspects.
every single one, of course, yes.
Yeah.
That's how come
And
I said I wanted to start on with covenant in the
yeah,
study. I wanted to cover, dispensationalism, covenant, so they can understand the approach, because they believe it or not, they have an approach too. And
yeah,
I think to get clarity, I want everybody to understand. But for the most part, 90%, I've been down with that. What you go for a minute? The church, I'm talking about the black church here in America, outside of a few people that's involved in apologetic, involved in church planning and all of that other stuff. Kojic, the main denominations, Baptists,
yeah.
AME, the main churches out here ain't think about no Israelites. I
No,
told them other people, Sister E, and them people that I know that I've been discussing stuff with. I'm like, boy, y'all looking for some validation from the church. Y'all might as well move on. Church ain't think about y'all. Y'all might as well just move on and just make it happen for yourselves.
yeah,
The
that's
few people that want to dialogue, it's good to dialogue, but you got other people out here preaching, oh, it's the end of the church. God ain't talking in the Christian church and all of that. Church ain't thinking about y'all. You see the folk got their Christmas tree and they rocking out there enjoying it, so they ain't thinking about y'all. There's
yeah.
only a few people that want to even come to the table and have this discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. I mean, it's a lot of it is boiled down to theological systems that most people don't even know why they believe that system in the first place.
That's right.
Right. So it's like, okay, and this is what I believe. How else could it be interpreted if so many people are saying it? And in my denomination, how could it be viewed as otherwise? And I think that again, that's why I say if you have a good and development of the doctrine of the church, I think that those type of discussions, right? If you look at church history and you appeal to these things, you say, okay, so a lot of the church fathers were historic premillennialists, but not dispensational. There's a very big difference between those two, right? Historic premillennialists don't view it the same way as dispensational premillennialism does. So I would say that I think if you look at certain things, okay, I could see the case for historic premillennialism, right? You could look at a lot of the church fathers that actually believed in that view, but then you have to look at history and be like, well, there was reasons why they believed it, right? But then you start to have to ask questions about internal and external evidence of the actual text. A lot of it boils down to when you believe the book of Revelation was written, right? So church fathers don't all agree about that, right? So again, it comes down to a lot of discussion. And I think that because these questions haven't been asked, because people didn't even know to ask them, then a lot of things have been missed. So I would say, like, a lot of people just have these views that they've never questioned because it just makes sense. It's so reinforced. And I I think that people should be careful about that. At least hold a view because you believe within yourself that it's consistent with the scriptures, not because other people are saying it um, like that.
You see what Sam, was that Sam the Baptist? Somebody just said that's, let me see. Somebody said, while y'all talking in the dark, I'm just putting my other shirt on. I'm getting ready to run outside and get me some something to eat. I always do that after I'm finished. What did he say?
He said, "Why y'all talking in the dark?"
No, I know. I wanted to read, but
There's a-
that was Sam. Sam said, in evangelism, the truth always ticks Christians off before they fully accept it or even listen to it. Yeah, that whole conversation, to me, that whole conversation that thing ain't about nothing with no Christians. They ain't thinking about that. They feel like, they'll hear Israelites say certain things like the other guy said, God ain't talking in the Christian church. You're gonna tell me all in the whole church, God ain't talking. Matter of fact, who believe that? Type of one in here if you think God ain't talking in the Christian church. Type of one in here. Because these folk out here, they real with it. I got to separate them dumpers. Y'all gonna say what God doing, what the Great Spirit doing. Y'all know what the Great Spirit doing. But he talking up there. Where he talking at in GMS? Where he talking at? In the Masonic, where he talking at? Matter of fact, where he ain't talking at. God doing what he want to do, where he ain't talking at. This is the thing that's so crazy. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, man. I'm gonna.
Yeah, as Freddie Jackson said one. It's an open panel. Someone asked if this is in an open panel.
Yeah, you want to ask a question? I'm going to jump off, but you want to ask a question? I hope you J-Man, you a Bible thumper? Because one thing, I don't need nobody out here thumping out with me about no daggone, thumping out with me about that book in Israel and God done sent us and God and all that. I can't deal with too much thumping. Not right now. Not with my confidence off.
You said you're getting ready to leave?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless you got something else, because nobody else jumped on. Unless you got something else that you wanna share. I said I was gonna do that video, but I know
I had a question.
I still end up touching on some stuff when people are trying to wait for some stuff to smoothing over. I don't think it is. All right. Oh, J-Man said, wait a minute. I'll aerate the man. Hold on. You got Zoom? Wait a minute. Hold on. J-Man said, I'm a panelist on Sister Cherry's platform. Hold on. Let me get Progress aggravated for a minute. Let me get Progress. Let me get Yolanda. Yeah. Look, I'm getting ready. I'm gonna put this thing in here. I'm gonna try something with y'all for a minute now. Don't y'all get to acting up ignorant up in here. I'm gonna try something. You got Zoom, right? Come on here for a second. Hold on, no, hold on. Hold on a minute.
They said it's about to blow up. Oh gosh.
His beautiful truth. Hold on. Hold on. Now listen, y'all come up in here acting up, y'all finna get right out in 2 minutes. But J-Man said he from Sister Cherry and he wanted to jump on here for a minute.
This should be good.
Oh, wait a minute. Now this is where they're gonna say I'm wrong, Mike Shaw. All right, who can I get on here? Who can I get? Hopefully everybody here knows Sister Cherry. If they think I should email her. Where Mike Shaw at? Now, Yolanda, you see what I'm doing? Where Mike Shaw at? Mike Shaw, jump on here too. Who else in Israel right here? So y'all can talk to someone, one of Sister Cherry panelists for a second. Lord, I'm changing. I don't put my coat on. I'm ready to. All right, I gotta wait on. I gotta chill for a second.
I look forward to this one, and we'll see how long I stick around for it.
Where is? Well, you know, where my mute button? Oh no, that mute button ready. That mute button ready. Carolyn said, "Don't do." Oh, that's Sister Cherry. No, matter of fact, never mind. Come on, Sister Cherry. Come here for a minute. All right, well, how come I'm not seeing what's on my thing? Wish I don't see her.
And the chat told me to hang tight. I'll try. And we'll see what happens.
All right, who's on? All right, who's on? I can't see it. Who's on? Come on now. What's going on? Mike Shaw. All right, Mike. Who's that? That's Jay. That's the one I just sent you the link. Can y'all hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right, Joshua, is that you that I just sent the link that was asking if there was an open panel? Come on, Sister Cherry, you jump on. I just put that link in there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is J-Man. How's it going? Peace.
Okay, good. Go ahead. Let me see. Go ahead. You wanted the link. You're the one that wanted to ask a question, right?
This Mike, I'm here.
No, I know you're here, Mike. I'm talking about Joshua. Josh was the one that wanted to ask the question, that asked if there was an open panel.
I didn't really want to ask a question. I was just wondering if it was an open panel.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. No, come on up in here, Sister Cherry. Come on up in here, Sister Cherry. Let me see if Sister Cherry got something to say. All right, we got some level-headed. Yolanda, let me know if you want to jump on. We got some level-headed people. Let me hear. Now watch now. Y'all watch how my Sister Cherry come on and talk. I don't know where Brown is. Do you see her yet, Aaron? Do you see her? All right, Cherry, y'all don't know I'm hungry. I'm going to get me some chicken wings. I'm hungry.
Man, you always talking about chicken.
I'm going to get the salad this time. I think I'm going to get on my salad thing right now.
I bet you put some chicken in it.
Oh, definitely. Grilled, yeah, definitely. Some coffee for this one. She said, I think she's gonna need where's the Cherry at? I'm not finna mess around with y'all and turn this thing into no nada. Is she here? Okay, I don't think she. All right, y'all go ahead. What are you saying? Y'all go ahead whilst I'm trying to.
I just said I hope there ain't no Calvinists in here. If there is, I'm leaving.
Well, you better get out of here right now.
What are you talking about?
I don't see. You don't see. I just sent. I put the link in the things in Cherry 403.
I'm here, Glenn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, where's she at? I don't see her.
I'm here.
Oh, you in the galaxy? Okay, all right. Come on. You heard some of what was going on. Share your thoughts.
Well, I only heard a little bit, but I would like to get a recap of what Aaron has to say.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, about what in particular? We're talking about a few different things.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm at work too. Well, I seen J-Man, said that he was from my panel, And I was just saying that I'm here just listening. And I would, I'm kind of curious on your position on, whatever subject, whatever biblical standpoint that you got going on, whether it be on God, whether it be on salvation, whether it be on grace, mercy, you choose. You
Oh,
choose.
covenant theology is his thing.
Oh yeah, I mean,
he's
I mean,
mainline. He's orthodox.
yeah, I don't think we disagree on probably too much on the surface, unless you were looking to disagree. I don't, I don't know if that. Oh yeah, I mean, we
I
probably have to
don't
dig
know.
into the
Are you
weeds.
assuming that I'm a Calvinist? Because I'm not a Calvinist at
Oh,
all.
I know you're not. No, I'm probably
Oh,
the only one that is one that's in here. But it was a joke,
oh,
and I said if there is any,
oh,
I'm leaving. That's usually the disposition that people have.
oh,
Like, there's Calvinists around, we got to leave. But I was reading a book recently by a man named Dr. Ken Johnson, who makes
mhm.
the assertion that
Oh,
Calvinism
no. Oh
is
no, Ken gonna be
origin.
on here in a few
I
days.
like King Johnson. He's pretty
Oh
good.
no, Ken gonna be on here in a few days, Dr. Aaron. You
Uh-huh.
gonna get to meet. Oh, you weren't on here when he was on live.
No, but I watched a lot of it. And a lot of his information is interesting.
Oh yeah, he been on.
Some of
Yeah.
it I find valuable, but I had
I think he's pretty
um
good.
I had a few issues with some of the with his argumentation.
Everybody's gonna. That's okay. That ain't
That,
bad.
but it
Wait till you get it. When he get here, you explain him.
okay,
You can
okay,
explain the couple of what you call it that he had on. Oh no, okay, all right. So anybody else?
yeah.
I thought the Cherry wanted to share something. Of course, I'm gonna let her get on chicken wings. Yeah. No, that chicken wing place is 24 hours. I'm going around here right now.
No,
Keep talking
you
about
made
chicken.
that statement, Vereen. You made that mistake, that statement last time that you was gonna leave out here and get some chicken wings, and that was hilarious. When you made it.
No, I stay getting them. I stay getting them chicken wings. But no, we had a few people talking. We had a few people talking on here, and I don't think the whole. So Cherry, you've been going live. You've been going
Yeah,
live. Have your
I've been going live. I go live Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays.
okay.
So far I have been dealing with New Age doctrine, looking
Oh,
into
okay.
that. Also still dealing with, the Hebrew Israelites,
Which
and
ones now? Which ones you've been dealing with?
all of them.
Has your position changed any
Regarding what?
concerning what we call messianics or moderates? Or have your position changed on them?
Give me 2 seconds, Lorraine. Hold
Because I don't think we've had her on since they've been other videos, dropped. Sister E and other people been having a couple of videos. I don't think she's been on since then. I said we were going to do something, but then people got so up in arms.
Okay, your question was what, Lorraine?
Have your position changed any? Because there's other people that have been dropping some videos. I'm believing that you're aware of those videos.
I am aware of the videos regarding people are upset regarding my position and a few other
Urban apologists, yes.
urban apologist position.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Number one, I want to make it very clear. We don't hate these people at all. Number two, I personally, when I look at the scriptures, and not just my personal opinion, but when I'm looking at the scriptures, I don't see any room or any validation of identity doctrine. However, I will say this. If that's your conviction, that's your conviction. But, and I want every Hebrew Israelite to hear this, when you start making that a salvation issue, or if you start making the law of Moses a salvation issue, then we're going to have a problem. I will be the one, along with other apologists, we're going to get in your face unapologetically, because, and I'll say this, the Bible does not make those things a requirement for salvation. Now, if they want to memorialize the law of Moses They want to go and worship on Sabbath. Hey, knock yourself out. I don't care. If you want to walk around here and say that you're a Hebrew Israelite, fine. I personally don't believe that you are, but that's me, right? I don't speak for the other apologists. Some of them say, you know what, they're cool with it. They don't have an issue. But when it comes down to salvation, which a lot of them have been doing, 95%, the Hebrew Israelite community has been making this a salvation requirement, we're going to have a problem. And don't cry about it.
Okay, Mike Shaw. All right, Mike Shaw. You and Perry, y'all recognize yourself as Israel, correct? Mike Shaw and Vince Perry.
Yeah, this Mike. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And you don't, and y'all are also part of that. You don't believe that yourself. You don't believe any of that, correct?
As far as
Don't believe any of what?
Salvation. You heard what she just said. Salvation issue. You think the Sabbath? You think your DNA got anything to do with salvation?
No, not at all.
Go ahead, Perry. Go ahead.
No, I don't believe that what I believe is my ethnicity has anything to do with salvation. The gospel makes it clear that I have to believe on him, on Jesus, on his death, burial, and resurrection. So that's where I get my salvation from. It's from faith. It has nothing to do with my identity.
Wearing fringes, the Sabbath, eating pork. Does that have anything to do with your salvation? Come on, what is the gospel? Explain to her the gospel to you as Israel, as an Israelite, as a messianic or whatever, because y'all so funny with terms. Everybody cry baby now. Explain you.
I don't have a term. You guys keep giving me a term and calling me a moderate. I just believe on Jesus Christ.
Okay, and you believe you're Israel. That's all. That's good enough. All right. All right. That's good.
I'm with Perry. And I think a lot of times when people talk about the law and the law of Moses or whatever, I know there's a lot of Israelites that will say you got to keep all 600 whatever laws. I do use laws to govern my way of life. Is it salvation? Is that a salvational issue? No, but I need something to measure. When we see that, when we look at the two great laws or whatever that Christ talked about, loving the Father with your mind, soul, and heart, and loving your neighbor as yourself. When I look at the 10 Commandments, I see that if I don't know the 10 Commandments, then I can okay, you got your you honor the God. You hold on, let me get this right.
You need some time to get it right because I don't want these questions to go by. Somebody got a good question here.
Okay, you got the first 4 that's talking about the Most High. You got the last 6 that's talking about man. So I use that to govern how I reverence the Most High and how I treat my fellow neighbor. So that's how I use it. It's just to govern how I can show that I love the Most High and how I treat my neighbor.
Okay. All right. All right. Listen to this. Somebody else, Cherry, you can hear me, right? I know you're at work. You probably got to go, but I want to just.
No, I can hear you. I'm good.
What is sister? Listen to this. Somebody said, "What is Sister Cherry's basis for saying that a person is not an Israelite if a person say that they are?" That's not these guys here. That's somebody I'm reading in the comment.
Okay.
How can you say somebody's not an Israelite if they say that they are? What do you stand on? Their DNA? What would make you say they're not?
Okay, first of all, I'm looking at the entire book of the volume of the book. Number one, the Bible does not give that premise to even go and look for that. That's number one. Number two, and I'm going to appeal to, I know y'all call us Bible thumpers, but 1 John chapter 4, where it says test all the spirits. Number three, I'm going to appeal to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21, which is going to say, prove all things holding fast to which is good. The Bible is good, the scriptures is good. So yes, I'm going to question that regarding, are you an Israelite? So far, when I have basically just asked that question, I have been told, oh, the Most High told me that. Or I've been told, oh, well, I had a dream. Or an angel came to me and Jesus had a dog and the dog told me that. So listen, I have run into a lot of cracky stuff from people of y'all community who've made y'all look really, really bad. And please don't blame that on me. Blame that on your peers. So therefore, y'all have, due to that, y'all have moved us to the position to, yes, the question hard, to say, listen, if this is the case, prove this. But even if you can or can't prove it, again, I'll be honest with you, I don't see the purpose of it at all. Because again, it doesn't add or subtract from salvation. I still don't see why we need it. That's my answer to you.
Okay, all right. Country Boy said, "Tell him, Cherry. Do you think? You said it doesn't make a difference. Do you think anybody that's Israel? You think any Israelis, any person that's Israel is living in America at all, saved or not? You never that far into it.
Well, I would say this. Thank you, hon. I would say this, like with the well, I guess what they call themselves, the Ashkenazi Jews or Orthodox Jews that's
Yes.
in Israel who are considered non-Messianic. I wouldn't consider them saved at all. I'll tell that to them, straight to their face. They're not saved. The reason why I did make that statement to a lot of people in the Hebrew Israelite community on this particular side, not just because of what I've seen or what I've heard, but because of how the word of God is being handled by a lot of these people. I have heard that the gospel is knowing that you are Israelite. I have heard that the gospel is going back to a land. I have heard that knowing if you are Israelite is main priority over knowing Jesus Christ. That is
From the ones that's considered or moderates or messianics, from them.
Yeah, I've even heard from, I mean, not the ones on the panelists. I mean, I haven't had that dialogue with them, so I can't just, flat out say that. But due to what I have heard and what I've seen of the handling of the scriptures and not reading in full context or misconstruing a text to say, well, this means that Ezekiel 37 or 36, this means that the word is what? No, it doesn't. That's not what that means. If you read the whole story in context, it'll let you know the two sticks coming back together, which will be in the Messiah's hand, and he will reign, rule over all nations, including Israel. It's about Christ. It's not about you. It's not about you. Again, it's not about you.
You know you're getting a little loud,
right?
You know you're getting a little bit loud, right?
Sorry, bro.
I know you get excited. Anybody, all right, do y'all have any questions in here? Do anybody have any questions for Sister Cherry in here? You see,
but Berean.
Yes, sir.
I think at the end of the day, we just have to demonstrate love, That's what Messiah came to do, and that's what we should all do, because just love, we have to love our neighbors as ourselves. So that's kingdom. Because
if you don't, if Sister Cherry don't think that they're saved, she's not going to. That's her brother. She don't think that those are her brothers and sisters. You don't think that's a problem identifying our brothers and sisters?
No, I would not look at them as my brothers and sisters, because the simple fact is we're part of two different families. The brothers and sisters in Christ, in the body of Christ, is focused on Jesus Christ, which salvation came from. He is salvation. That's where our focus on. These people, and I don't mean any disrespect, their focus is on identity. That is taking away from Christ. So we have two different goals, two different pathways. I'm appealing now to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, which says, what do we have in common? What do we have in common? Please don't say skin color, because that's not enough.
I think both of these guys. But for what? So did the guy Vince and the guy Mike Shaw, did those two say anything opposed to what we believe, me and you?
No, I haven't heard them yet.
You have heard me.
You know, he just said it. Go say it again. What you said, Vince? Say it again. What you said?
I said you have heard me.
I said
I'm a follower of Christ. I said I am a follower of Christ. My identity does not save me, but finding out who I am doesn't change the fact that I need Jesus Christ for salvation. But when I hear you speak, Sister Cherry, I don't hear love in your heart at all. All I hear is anger.
I love you.
Not
How
anger,
you
she
loving
just
your
talking
neighbor
about.
when you're yelling?
No, I'm not yelling at you. I
No,
don't.
she calmed down. She calmed down. She just sometimes we talk loud. I talk loud like she talk loud.
I'm mistaking my passion for
Okay, can I
I
say
don't
something?
hate you at
Hold
all.
on a second. Hold on. We gonna talk. Hold on. Let her go ahead.
I don't hate you at all, but I will say the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, I despise it because of these reasons. Number one, it takes the focus off of Christ. Number two, it has hurt quite a few people, well, a lot of people that I counsel and actually destroyed their lives, and they're trying to piece their lives back together. So there's a whole lot of issues within your you guys' doctrine. We got some believe that Jesus is God. Some believe that Jesus doesn't have the same authority as God. I mean, you don't even have a statement of faith, and it's a lot of confusion within your doctrine. So yeah, I have a lot of questions, and yeah, I'm gonna come at this hard, especially when I have seen a lot of results, bad results, coming from your peers. I hope that answers your question.
Go ahead, Mike. It's Mike Shaw. You want to say something, Sister Cherry, before we get out of here?
Yeah, the statement of faith is Christ is King.
Go ahead.
I agree with that.
Yeah, we and I know there's a lot of doctrines that and there have been a lot of people that's been hurt, but that's in any faith-based type of situation where you can see people hurt all around the world through different religions. So it's not just us. I know the focal point in a lot of your conversation is about Israel and the things that they are doing, but everybody has a hand in hurting people. But what we have to do is follow the example of Christ at all times with everything that we do. And we do have to reach out in love with everybody.
That's the bottom line. For real.
Okay.
I mean,
Anybody else? Any?
that I really agree with that. I do. But I'm looking at, you know what, people can say a lot of things, but also we need action too. I hate to bring up this part, but well, I'll just generalize it. The co-signing of stuff, and I think y'all know what I'm talking about, last week, Tuesday. And I'm not
You
talking
say?
about what happened last week, Tuesday, with the shooting. And I'm not talking about just the camps. I'm talking about for moderates, people we would consider moderates.
Co-signing the New Jersey thing?
Yeah, co-signing listen, bro, I got screenshots. And not to mention, I even have pictures of saying, let the churches burn. So, you know, like, yeah, I mean, I hear what y'all saying, and I agree with you on what you said, but listen.
You can.
Wait, I have a
No. Wait a minute. No, I want to let her talk. I want to let her get that out right there. Go ahead. Well, let her finish saying she got screenshots of them co-signing Jared, you know, the
New Jersey shooting, saying bang, bang, those fake Jews got what they deserve and stuff like that.
You said moderates?
Mm-hmm. Not even the camps. I can't.
Okay, go ahead. All right. Somebody got a question for y'all on what you said.
I will say this. At least Sakari tried to play cleanup, like for real.
At least what?
At least the Sakari tried to play cleanup. Like the moderates is getting rougher than the One West. I can't tell the difference anymore.
All right, anybody, y'all heard what you said. Anybody got a comment on that?
First off, you can't group everybody together.
Yeah,
I didn't. I can't tell the difference.
Every time you say it, you're grouping all of us together.
I said
with the shooting, I don't condone that. How can I love on someone or give them the gospel and tell them to come to Jesus Christ and repent if they're dead? Like, I almost got drawn into this camp stuff when I found out my identity, except the Holy Spirit kept telling me they had no love in their heart. And I didn't understand that until I went through the scriptures thoroughly to realize you can't keep them laws. There's no way to do that. A lot of them are ceremonial. A lot of them require the temple. That stuff's impossible to do. So I understand that. I get that. And James said, if you fell in one, you fell in all of them. And then it says, if you try and go back to the law, it's like basically crapping on Christ. I'm not trying to do that. But you
I
can't go and
agree
assume
with
just
you,
because
Doctor.
you have so-called moderates. I don't consider myself a moderate. I just consider myself a follower of Christ. Identity aside, it doesn't seem like anyone gets pissed off if there are Chinese Christians, Mexican Christians, or anything else. But as soon as we as Black people try and define ourselves as anything than other what everybody else is saying we are, everybody gets up in a tizzy. And I don't understand why. And I think we
Okay,
need to look
I
into
can
that.
answer
But
that question for
nobody
you.
wants to look into that. And it seems like the Black community itself destroys itself and self-moderates and doesn't allow itself to grow at all. And if this platform is a place where we have come together so that we can speak, then we need to be able to come together and dialogue like Brother Beren says.
I feel you. And like I said, I feel where you're coming from, and I can answer that question. Why has you? Thank you.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on, Sister. I'm gonna give you the floor right back. Do y'all think? Listen, y'all heard what she said. She said she got screenshots and everything. Then I'm looking at some of the comments in here. Do y'all think that they're just hearing what they want to hear, and like from what Perry just said, that Sister Cherry may not be open. She just hearing what she want to hear, and she just has her talking points. She just believe what she believes, or she is rightful in what she's saying. This is a question I'm putting to y'all down in here. You hear me, Yolanda? Brother, I'm so confused. Our identity is in Jesus. Yolanda said she's so confused. And you're absolutely correct. But so DNA is just wrong, Yolanda.
I agree with Yolanda. Your identity.
I know I'm asking her. That what you're saying?
327.
Wrong, Yolanda? Go ahead, Sister Jerry.
I agree with Yolanda. Your identity is in Jesus Christ, Galatians 3:27. Those who have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. I thought Christ is supposed to be the center of this situation. However, to answer the gentleman's statement, why it has become such a problem? And you mentioned the Christian, Chinese Christian, the Russian Christian, or the African American Christian, or whatever you want to say. Listen, that don't come up. You know what comes up? Christian. Jesus. That's the main focus. We are literally named after Christ. Root word of Christian is right. Christos, right? Christ. He is the focus point. So guess what? What we have witnessed on the apologetic side, I'm not going to, well, I will speak for myself because I don't want to lump nobody else, but quite a few apologists, but mainly myself. I'm going to keep this on myself. What I have witnessed, the focus is not on Christ. The focus, I can give you Hangout from multiple platforms, 3 to 4 hour conversations about nationality. And Jesus rarely comes up. It's like he's not even a secondary source. He's like what? Plan Z. So yeah, that is problematic. And while a lot of people hold to the position that I hold, and I'm just keeping this on myself, but the reason why I hold the position that I hold towards you guys, because again, nationality, who cares about your nationality? The purpose, the point is, are you in Christ and Christ alone? Because is God going to ask you about your nationality? Highly doubt it.
Okay, hold on a second. I want to no. Hold on a second. Everybody, hold on for a minute right here. Y'all see what that you see? She's speaking for herself, but a lot of people hold that position. Y'all can see why I tell y'all. I say y'all better move on, because if y'all worried about urban apologists, y'all worried about them church folk thinking about y'all better move on. Somebody asked the question though, Sister Cherry. Somebody said, "What's the difference between ask Dr. Brown and that guy Brother Vince Perry that was just talking to you? What's the difference between them? You think you think Dr. Brown is saved? Ask Dr. Brown. You think he's saved? A saved Jew?
Mike Brown?
He got your brother. Ask Dr. Brown, the guy that was on the show the other day and you called him.
He focuses on Christ. He's trying to bring people to Christ.
But this guy Vince Perry ain't. This guy Mike Shaw not.
Well, I mean, it's what does he preach? I mean, is he preaching nothing but Christ and Christ crucified, or is he preaching Christ crucified and nationality too?
Okay,
Brother Berian.
Let me speak real quick.
Mike Shaw, go ahead, man.
I'm just asking.
I deal not just only with that, but there is prophecies that also has to be dealt with as well. And a lot of the prophecies go back to Israel. When this is one of the way that you can observe the times. So that's what I also deal with.
So can I ask you this? Does God need your help to fulfill prophecy, or can He make prophecy come to pass regardless of you?
Oh no, he could make prophecy come to pass, but he at that point.
So how about we both let God do His job, and let's do what God has set for us, which is bringing people to Christ.
But who are we to say what has been given a calling to anybody?
Well, who are we to say that God don't know who is who?
Okay, what exactly? So if I hold on.
And Dr. Aaron think church history is gonna fix this?
Look, Sister Cherry.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
May I ask, is God omniscient?
Go ahead.
Is He omniscient?
Yes.
Meaning He knows all, right?
So that means He doesn't need
please answer
your help as well.
God
then.
all-knowing. Is God all-knowing?
Do He need your help then?
Is He all-knowing?
Of course He is. Now, does He need your help?
So wouldn't He know who is who?
Hold on. Let her what you call it, girl.
Wouldn't He know who is who and what is what? Since He's the creator of all creation, right? He's omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, all-seeing, all-knowing, all-present, all-powerful. So He don't need y'all assistance.
Okay, hold on.
Hold
Don't
on.
get excited. Don't
Thank you. God has given us a commission. And what is that great commission, sir?
Okay, hold on a second. Go ahead. Now answer her.
Okay. If He's all knowing, then why does He need your help, and why do you do what you do?
You mean with her show?
Yes. Why? If I can't speak and say what I want to say, and feel like I'm being moved by the Most High, but it's okay for her to do that. See, that's the problem. You can't dictate what people say. You can't do it.
It's not even a matter. The people in the. It's not even a matter that the matter of it is if like somebody said, if Dr. Brown got the Thoroughly Jewish on podcast on every week, and y'all come on and y'all might discuss, is Israel because you're looking forward to prophecy or whatever. What's the difference between Vince, between Mike Shaw, between whoever had the statement of faith, like y'all heard Pastor Major say, and between Dr. Brown outside of skin color? What is the difference, Sister Cherry? That's what they're trying to ask, at least from what I can put together in the conversation.
Would you like to know the difference between Mike Brown and them?
And Pastor, yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Mike Brown says, yes, he's a Jew, right? And I would ask him, how do you know, right?
You asked Mike Brown that? Dr. Brown?
I would ask him, but listen, here's the thing. Most likely why I would ask him, but most likely why that question probably wouldn't come up? Because you know what? He's not making that a focal point. His focal point is drawing people to Jesus Christ. Listen, that nationality.
But one thing you got to give it to him. Dr. Brown, make sure he let people know that he's what his nationality. He's Jewish, don't he? Isn't he Jewish?
People have asked him. Sometimes I've heard people ask him that first, and he'll answer them.
Okay.
But hold on, Mike Brown makes it very clear what his mission is. That's why I asked this gentleman, what's the commission that Jesus gave us? What's the commission that God gave us? That question still stands. He hasn't answered. What's the commission?
You talking to you, Mike? Which one you talking? I was just talking?
Hebrew Israelite. What's the commission?
It's to preach the gospel. They preach good news.
Go ye what? Therefore, and teach what? All nations, right?
Yeah, and
in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Now, did not nobody talk prophecy at all in the New Testament?
I did not say that.
Okay, so if I'm just going over prophecy with people, what is the problem?
Again, God is the one that's going to what? He's going to cause prophecy to be fulfilled, right?
Of course.
So therefore, he don't need your help. I think he's done a pretty good job over the thousands of years.
But, Sister Cherry?
That's my name.
I know what your name is.
You call him.
Oh, don't talk to me with like
I
that.
said that's my name.
Wait a minute.
No,
Hold
okay,
on. Let me beat you to the chair. Let him talk. Let him talk. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so if Paul and the rest of the disciples talked about prophecy, John got a whole book of Revelations about prophecy, and that's what I want to focus on and want to talk to people about. Why is that a problem?
And I want to say this to Sister Cherry too. Daniel said false equivalency. God doesn't need anyone's assistance for anything. He don't need anyone's assistance to preach the gospel either, but we choose to do it that way. So what's the point of the question?
God has privileged us, Brother Brain. He's given
I'm
us
reading, this is a question to you from Daniel.
Right, but I'm saying it's a privilege to be a servant of God, for him to give you a job to do, right? And he has given us a great commission, which is to spread the gospel to all nations, to teach them all the things that Jesus taught, right? That is a privilege. That's not something that we demand. That's not something that we have earned. God has privileged us and entrusted us with his precious gospel, and to see it be thrown to the side for ethnicity.
Brother Berean.
Go ahead.
I got a question. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying?
For who? Now, who's the question for? Director?
This just an open question.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you know, we must preach the gospel to all creatures, everyone, right? But we gotta do it in love. You know what I'm saying? Because when we come on here, we trying to debate and trying to get winning points, but it's not about that, because people are dying out here. You know,
I agree with that.
And if they don't see Christ, how could we draw them if they don't see Christ? You know, so we have to come in the middle. I might not agree with you, you might not agree with me, but at the end of the day, it's just one power. You know,
I agree with that, but if I don't think you're my brother, I'm going to treat you a certain type of way. If I don't think you're my brother, I'm going to treat you a certain type of way. Or BK Apologist said, or Mike, was that Mike Short that was talking? Can you unpack what you mean? Go into a little, what do you mean by teaching prophecy? What do you mean by teaching prophecy? BK Apologist asked you that. That was Mike Shaw, right? You said, and teaching prophecy. Didn't you just say that?
You know what? Okay. Let me say this.
Be careful with that. Go ahead.
It's not teaching, it's showing prophecy. You could go through scripture and just say, okay, look, this is some of the signs that we're supposed to be looking for. And that's all it is. It's nothing new. It's everything coming out the scriptures.
Okay.
And that's part of the good news. Okay, Luis, the signs of the times are getting close. Let's keep pushing towards the mark.
Daniel, listen to what Daniel was like. So why talk about anything outside of the gospel? Why talk about racism? That's not the gospel. Why talk about anything other than the gospel then?
No, that's
Come on, Dr. Aaron.
I'm not.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Aaron. Put your hand down. Are you there? Or you done left? You don't vote.
No, I'm still here. So what I was going to say is a lot of the issues that I see is that, again, for those who don't identify as an Israel, and for us, a lot of the questions that we have, or a lot of the non-issues, boils down to what happens in regeneration, right? Becoming a new creature. And how does that point to the end and consummation of all things? So if for someone who doesn't identify, they're going to see it as a non-issue where the gospel is concerned. Because when we look at the new heavens and the new earth, we look at our total rebirth, right? The partial happening now at the giving of the Holy Spirit, regeneration, changing of the heart, the nature. Eschatologically speaking, in the last things, us being completely different than how we are now, right? So it's almost looking at the end and reasoning backwards, right? Saying that if the end, we won't be identified exactly how we are now. There'll be a complete changing of who we are, right? Ethnicity will be transcended, right, by the very nature of Christ. And the last things, then who we are now as a people, right, doesn't bear significance in the end, right? So that's until we talk about that, and that's why I posted in the side chat, I was like, well, the extent of regeneration, right, the already not yet principle of the gospel, the whole purpose of the gospel, what happens in the heart of the believer, and to what extent does that happen? Like, what does it mean when Christ is the firstborn of the new creation, right? What is the new creation? And I think answering questions like that will deal with a lot of why do we not consider this an issue, right? Why is our ethnicity now not an issue? Will it be an issue in the final things, which then becomes a whole question of prophecy?
Do
right?
you see personally ethnicity as an issue? Do you see personally ethnicity as an issue? You once lived in America and you're coming back to America. Do you see ethnicity as an issue in discussion or with religious matters? It still does not make a difference when it comes to the kingdom.
Okay, so I would say that I see ethnicity as a post-fall issue, right? Okay, so if you look at how things are now, again, I would hold to the belief that in the fall, a lot of things happened, both to what would be called as the noetic effects of the fall, right? Our ability to reason, to think straight. We began to put things in categories that are not God-centric, right? So how we view the world, how we view everything is in a post-fall schema, right? It's just not the way it should be. I think it becomes an issue like we have wars. Do I think people should be out killing each other? No. But as a post-fall issue, there has to be a right way to do it. I think that was the point of the law of Moses, right? If you're going to do these things, you must do it this way, right? I think that's what the issue is. So right now, yes, ethnicity is an issue because it's post-fall. This is how we view things, and justice comes into play. So when injustice is done and it's based on these things, yeah, ethnicity becomes an issue because that's the current state of the world. But that's different and then saying it's a gospel issue. That's different than saying at the consummation of all human history, when Christ returns, that ethnicity is still an issue, right? I don't see that being at the end of all things, but we still have to reason and judge and use some type of objective measure as to how we view right and wrong and when injustice is done. And I think that ethnicity, because that's a motivation for wrong, we have to look at it.
One of the things that's important to me is that we make sure now some people may say this is not important, but myself, I think I would like to make sure if I'm not neglecting a brother or a sister. If Sister Cherry is a brother or sister, I want to acknowledge her, even though we don't agree the same thing. That's my sister in Christ. That's my co-laborer. I would feel the same way about Mike Shaw, about Perry, about other people. If we believe the same thing, I'm not going to start running around here trying to act like y'all ain't saved. I think it's a problem. If I'm saved and I'm looking at Mike Shaw and talking about Mike Shaw and saying Mike Shaw believing the same thing I believe except skin color.
Yeah, and that was the issue in the New Testament, right? That those type of things happen. The neglecting of the widows, right? That's a thing. Again, that's why I say the doctrine of the church is important. Right, who we call brothers and sisters and things like that,
and how you treat them, justice. And how you treat
exactly.
them. Good point you brought. Good, excellent.
Exactly.
Point. Excellent.
That's my whole issue. When I see these things, I'm just like, you can't resolve conflicts because we are commanded as believers in the new covenant to work things out within that context.
And that's what I thought we were trying to do. But boy, it looked like other people like, man, that ain't even no working out.
But
leave that alone. That ain't no working out.
About me.
No, go ahead. What you got? Right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jerry. What you saying? I'm trying to read these last couple of comments before I jump. I want to make sure.
I know that was a shot at me. No.
No. But I'm saying, but at least you come on. You're willing to talk. That's like as soon as I saw you down in there, I said, "Come on and let's talk." No. I think it's good to talk. And I want to see as time went on since our last discussion. Did your position change? I've been kind of busy, so I haven't been following exactly what you've been doing. But it's good to hear you out. And people are concerned. People want to be accepted.
Here's my thing.
Especially if they don't feel they're doing or teaching anything different. Like, why am I treated like a stepchild, a step brother or sister or something like that? But do you feel like you're treating anyone like that?
No. Here's my thing. I'm looking at I have to look at what the scriptures say, right? Because I believe the word of God is the final authority, right? And the gospel of Jesus Christ stands alone. It's the power of God for salvation. So nothing else goes with. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Listen, hear me out. it stands alone, and it doesn't need anything else to go with it. Not to mention, he mentioned about prophecy or teaching prophecy or something like that. Listen, prophecy has already been set by God, and God is going to make sure that prophecy is fulfilled. He doesn't need our help in that area at all. I think God has been doing a wonderful job running the universe like he has been doing for millennium.
Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna cut you off for 1 second. Let me ask you a question. Do you think prophecy was fulfilled in 1948 when Israel became a nation and started going back to the land and they airlifted Ethiopian Jews and the United States support them? Do you think that's God, that's Bible, that's God prophecy, that he's fulfilling prophecy by bringing Israel together in the last days? Or you think you are Israel, spiritual Israel?
Well, from what I have reviewed, from the documentation that I have reviewed, which I don't have with me right now because I'm at work, so y'all forgive me, don't hold it against me, please. Yes, I will have to say yes. Now, here's the thing. Are there still Jews coming back to the land? Yes. Am I denying, is there any black Jews? No, I'm not denying that. The Jews were a mixed multitude. And here's the thing, another part that they leave out. When you look at Exodus chapter 12:48, right? And it clearly shows you an example of proselytes being able to what? Keep the Passover. Yes. Now, here's the thing. Now, who's to say that they're not a descendant of a proselyte?
Okay, that's what, but that's still, I agree with all that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Can I say?
No. Wait on. Let her.
Okay, I gotta get ready to go. So I just want to say this before I leave, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. All I want to say is, look, the body of Christ got many operations in it, so we all need to just do our part and just keep pushing the faith. Right. That's what we need to be doing. And just keep pushing towards the mark, man. Keep showing people the right things to do, and let's keep it moving. That's it.
Okay. All right. Bro. All right.
I agree with that. But like I said, it's so many questions that arise with this. This is why when you look at what Paul said in Titus 3:9, when he said in 1 Timothy 1 and 4, and then when he speaks in Philippians, I believe it's Philippians 3, he takes
progress gonna get out of here
off the table. He takes it off the table. Now, here's my thing. If they want to put it on the table, they're convicted about that, fine. I'll let you have that one. But here's the thing. Do not get upset when these questions arise from us. We have a right to challenge you on every standpoint. Just like I can challenge you right now. If Mike Shaw is up here, I want to ask him, is Jesus God?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is Jesus God?
All right, who's that for Mike? Who's that for Perry?
Mm-hmm.
Perry, you heard the question, brother. All right, he might be going to.
Jesus is God.
Say it again.
Jesus is God.
Okay, that's another one.
Is he equal with the Father?
And he's eternal.
Okay. All right.
And he's eternal. He said that. All right, y'all here. Anything else for Sister Cherry? Anybody in here?
Brother Berean, I got a question.
A question or a statement?
No, I just gotta say something. When I was in Israel in 2007, we talk about the Ethiopian Jews, but those people over there have been treated real bad. You know, they live in the slum of the ghetto. So when you're talking about Israel coming back home for 1948, you really have to examine that, because if you have never been in the land and see what's going on in the land, you have a different opinion on that.
But no, but still, people still believe it's prophecy being fulfilled. When the children of Israel went into they weren't acting right and exact too in the beginning. You know, they working stuff out. But the mere fact that she believed that that's prophecy, I brought that up because I know some people would say, all right, you believe that that's prophecy. You believe it's Israel, supposed to be over there and everything. God ain't take them over there. They got that land. They said God gave it to them, and they started getting on planes and going over there on their own. And building and taking land in the 6-day war, and they started, occupying or doing whatever, and they did it all, and they did it believing that they were fulfilling scripture because that was their promise. And they were walking in their promises. If you got a promise, Lord and prophesied something, you got a promise, you're gonna walk in that promise. So I know people would say that, so I brought that up just to see what's what.
You see,
all right, anybody else any questions for Sister?
One more. When I was there in Israel, even they don't want you to preach Christianity because the Hasidic Jews will beat you up.
And they don't even believe. That's another argument
just for
people
speaking
got.
Christianity.
Them ain't
Yeah,
even saved
yeah.
folk. How God gonna give them a promise? But that's a whole nother argument.
Yeah.
What's Sister Cherry's response to Dante's recent video? I'm not sure about that. You know anything about that?
Oh, I don't play that fool no mind. He ain't nobody, please.
Okay. Anybody else know a virgin? All right. She said that's not there. All right. I don't see what else. What else did the? All right. All right.
No,
All
I
right.
do have a
Anybody else?
question.
All right. I'm getting
I
ready
have a
to
question.
y'all. All right. Go ahead. Go lay that out. I'm ready. I'm going to get my chicken. I ain't messing with y'all.
Okay.
I'm hungry right now.
So, and so I just have a question for you, Sister Cherry. So, what is your take on? And I know you said that God doesn't need our help in fulfilling prophecy. What do you actually mean when you say that? Like, explain that a little bit.
How does God, your prophecy and humanity work hand in hand?
Yeah,
That's
look,
what he kind of saying.
What is your view on that?
God will use who he choose to use, right? But whatever God's plan is, prophecy, what purpose, whatever, it's going to be fulfilled whether we like it or not, or whatever he says. God is a God of his promise, right? So again, no matter what the situation is, God does not need anybody's help to fulfill prophecy. He's going to use who he's going to use, regardless of the fact. Like when we look at the end times, right? Can we stop end times from coming?
Oh, I don't believe that. But
No.
But I was just asking. I guess I'm trying to figure out how would you say God makes those things happen?
God uses
people.
Okay,
but what? Hold on. God can use man. God can use a rock. God can use a donkey. Did he use a donkey to Balaam? He can use whatever he wants. So therefore, God is not limited like we are. So
let me ask you a question. I want to ask you a question before I get out of here. I got to ask you this question. What do you think? I know it doesn't make a difference, but what in your mind do you think that Paul and James and Jesus looked like? The prince from Saudi Arabia, Bin Laden, Farrakhan. What do you close your eye? What do you think Jesus and Paul and them look like in your mind?
Oh gosh.
No, leave me alone, Aaron. I'm asking Sister Cherry. I'm asking. I'm muting Aaron. Go ahead, Sister Cherry. I hate Aaron.
You hijacked my question for that. That's what? That's the best you can hijack me for. Come on, man.
Hey, Sister Cherry. Sister Cherry, just please answer that. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. Please answer that.
I believe that Jesus, Paul, and all of them were olive skin color. I believe that there were darker skinned Jews. I believe that there were lighter skinned Jews. I believe they were a mixed multitude, a melting pot of what we're seeing right now. So to limit it just to straight up black and blackwash everything, we're guilty. We're becoming guilty just like the ones that you said whitewashed everything.
Okay.
So no, listen, Jesus and Paul and them, they weren't white. I don't believe in a white, blue-eyed Jesus, okay? So for those who've been saying that subliminally, stop. You're bearing false witness. I don't believe in that. And number two, do I believe that Jesus was straight up black? No, Jesus was a Jew. And I believe that those Jews were multicolored. I believe they were brown. I believe they were olive color. I believe they were lighter skin color. I believe they was a multitude. And let me say this on this last part. Why people are so focused on image. Didn't God say in Exodus chapter 20, verse 4, do not make any graven images in the likeness of heaven and earth?
That's talking about said Europeans shouldn't have started it. That's talking about said them Europeans shouldn't have started it.
Hold on. That don't give them the right to finish it. 2 sins don't make it right. So everybody needs to go have 29 seats.
All right, so one last thing. So you believe they were all colors. You know the two guys that left here, the guy that you talked to, you know, Majors and all of them, Sister E and all of them, you know, they believe the same thing, that they're all colors, that Israel's all colors. They all believe the same thing. Most people that I be around that I talk to, they all believe the same thing. Major just had somebody that was a white Jew that was preaching at his church. They're all, go ahead.
Long as this, here's my thing. And I'm gonna have to bring some correction to Sister E. And listen, her running is not gonna help her. I
Running
would
for
love to
what?
have a conversation. Me, I would love to, and I'm not being arrogant.
Okay.
Because I would like to have a conversation with her. And there is some things that she has said that I do disagree with. And I would like to straighten those things out peaceably. I don't have a grand issue with her, but I do have some issue with her.
Okay.
Um,
Is that your sister in Christ? Is Sister E your sister in Christ?
you want the lie, you want the truth.
I want the truth of matter. I started to say I wanted the lie. I want the truth. I want the truth.
As of right
now.
now, as of right now, I can't say yes. No, I cannot.
Not yet. Okay. All right. That's not okay. That's fair. She's telling the truth. She can't say right now. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. You finish.
And that's a beautiful thing, because I believe that those Israelites were a mixed multitude and of all shades. However, when we begin to put identity in front of what salvation issues, critical salvation issues, because we got so many people out here that don't know Jesus Christ. So how's it benefiting them to hand them ethnicity first, or color, whatever you want to say, and then when do we get to Jesus? Because they can't say, a lot of them can't even tell you nothing that he said. That's problematic. So that's where I take issue. Now, that's what she want to do. Fine. Do I believe she's a Hebrew Israelite? No, but that's me. Romans 14. Now I'm gonna thump that.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any questions for her? All right. Go ahead. But 3 rights don't make a left. Somebody said 3 rights don't make a left. So the Egyptians and the Canaanites were olive skinned. Was that for Sister Cherry?
Yeah, they could be. Or they could have been. I said they could have been darker skinned Jews. I believe there was. I believe there were beige skinned Jews. I believe that there were lighter colored Jews. Listen, stop trying to narrow this down to your comfortability. Got me? Whoever asked that question. Again, and that's what I'm talking about, Brother Kareem. They are more focused on that than what God got. Listen, let me throw this in. Okay, let's throw it out here. You're a Jew, right? And let's make me a Jew. And then we got Esau and all the rest of them. But we all accept Christ. So what does the person who is Esau or Moabite or any other nationality, and they all believe on Jesus Christ and walk the way he says to walk, what different reward do they get?
That's too loud, Brother Berean.
What'd you say? What'd you say, Holman?
Sister Sherry just gotta calm down a little bit and just speaks,
To make them accept it more. That's what Baker said. What Baker said, that's your problem, Sister Cherry.
Yeah.
You cannot correct anyone without correcting yourself. There is such a way, too much pride in your speak. All of you have to see proud. Look, excuse me, I'm reading crazy. I can't see this. You need to look in the mirror.
She blew out it. He said she blew out his headphones. He said it's too loud.
That what Baker said? I got to Baker Holman. No, she get excited sometimes, 7-7. She get excited sometimes, Avatar. Country boy over here talking about preachers to Cherry. Holland is preaching a country boy. I know where y'all from.
I want to know.
Somebody said, yo, Charles, what are you talking about, Sister Cherry? Charles want to know if you know how to cook.
Yes,
you must like that preaching. You mad? What you want to ask her? You married? Go ahead.
But I want to know what do they get differently? What a person who's white, a person that's Chinese, a person that's black, and then those who want to identify is Jews, Israel, or whatever. Well, and we all believe on Jesus Christ. What do we get differently?
Sam the Baptist said, but the Israelites going in with that too. They going, yeah. They made her say she like an Israelite, but she said, what's the difference? Y'all hear the question? They said, Yolanda says, the Cherry excited tonight. You know she get like that.
I want to know the bride of Christ is consistent of Jew and Gentile.
The body, that's correct.
12, right. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 through 18. It tells you the equation that the Jew and Gentile come together to form one body, many different members, right? We're all drinking from one spirit, one faith, one baptism, one Lord, right? So what are you getting different? Because you're not, if you're thinking that you're ruling, reigning over anything, you're not. Christ is reigning. If that's what you think, go sit down.
Okay, all right, y'all heard that. All right, Dr. Aaron, go ahead, back to your point. I'm trying to read some of these comments. They're getting good. They got
now I get to go back to mine like
no,
20
no,
minutes later.
go ahead. I know I wanted to make sure I caught
20
on.
minutes.
I wanted to make sure I asked her. She said they were all different colors.
Man, you hijacked my question with some close your eyes and tell me what you see.
Some Hebrews, Israelites scream. All right, some people say they scream all the time. All right, so basically they say don't be mad at Jerry for getting loud. Israelites get loud too. That's what somebody is basically saying.
And the only thing I had to turn my headphones down for.
Oh, you
every time
too?
She said it is every time she said they straight black. The moment she said that, I was like, man, why does she keep saying it the same way every time?
Sister Cherry,
I was like,
said, you bake? You asking a bake or you asking about a steak? What is Charles asking, Sister Cherry? About food, about cooking, passionate.
Oh.
He said, I don't got no problem with being passionate. Based on the concept of the crayon ideology, white supremacy, the apostles and Jesus would be considered black. That's coming from BK Apologists. Well, Sister Carolyn said, but please ask her if God doesn't need our help. Why did Jesus says for us to go into all the world and preach the gospel?
Oh my God.
Which is where
Charles,
I was going.
I'm hungry too, Charles. I'm hungry too.
So the world, oh, listen, that was the plan from the beginning, darling. That was the plan from the beginning for those to be what? Drawn to Christ, to know about Christ. Remember, yes, God chose Israel for a purpose, not because Israel was so great and so mighty and so special like that. No, he chose Israel for a purpose. He even gave Israel what? A job to do, to be what? At one point, to be a light to the world. But they kept breaking the law and they kept falling down. And I'm not trying to rag on Israel, but they failed at their job. And here comes Jesus. Jesus come and do it. And guess what? He did it well. And so what? He told them what? Go ye therefore and teach all nations. This is what God wants. This is what this is his
Do you
plan.
believe in a Perkins, brother Perkins want to know if you believe in a rapture, Sister Cherry?
Do I? Yes.
So
yes, he does.
So Sister Cherry, I have a question for you. So you said that God doesn't need our help. Do you believe that Israel failed in their attempt and that God had to come up with something different? Or was it intended that Israel not be the fulfillment of what God planned in terms of salvation for the whole world?
You know what? That can go either way, darling. Because yeah, we see that God was making Israel a light to the world, but then we see that they kept breaking the commandments. They went into exile. A lot went on, and not to mention I don't have the rest of my notes, so forgive me. I'm roughing it here.
I got you.
So yeah, they did fail. They did fail at their attempt. But God, I want to say God rerouted. God rerouted. And Jesus, he sent Jesus Christ and he did it well. He did it perfectly. He did it the way it was supposed to do, the way it was supposed to have been done. And here we are today discussing what? The word of God. I mean, I believe that we all love God, right?
Okay, so
that was the key, you know, the purpose of it.
So let me ask you specifically. So you would hold to that Israel, as far as God was concerned, was supposed to accomplish something, failed to accomplish it, and then he sent Jesus? Or
idol worship. They fell into idol worship.
That was somebody said Israel was never the plan, Christ was the plan.
Yeah, Christ was the plan from back Genesis 3:15, but he chose Israel to do a job and they failed at it. Ezekiel talks all about it.
Okay.
They were in bad shape.
So then Israel failed, but are you saying Israel, had they not failed, they would have been the way that God had intended for everyone to hear the gospel, so to speak?
Maybe. Who's to say? Who's to say? But you know what? It didn't go down that way, did it?
Okay, so and let me ask you another question.
It didn't go down that way, did it?
So when Abraham
did it go down that way? Did it go down that way?
Oh no, it didn't go down that way.
But I want to make sure all answers. I want to make sure all questions are answered. Go ahead.
Okay, so what was the promise that was given to Abraham, in your estimation, right? That all families of the earth would be blessed. Was that a prophecy, a promise, or what?
It
What
it
is
was
what is your view on
both.
that?
It was both.
Okay.
It was both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Jesus said to
but
teach all. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
but you still believe that Israel had they actually did what they were supposed to, that it was intended for them initially, and then a second plan was made, or
No, that's not what I'm saying. Thank you.
okay.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is God wanted Israel to also tell the world about him as
Mhm.
well. But they kept getting caught up into what? Idolatry. So, and breaking the law and then going into exile. They were in bad shape. So here come Jesus doing it. And yes, Jesus was the goal from the beginning. And I believe that God knew it, that they were gonna slip and fall. I'm not trying to rag on Israel, but I'm just saying Jesus Christ is better. I'd rather
Can I say
identify
something?
with him directly than sitting up here trying to latch myself onto some folks that failed in the first place. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Okay, go
I mean,
ahead.
I'm just
Go ahead,
asking
Terry.
questions and to bring clarity, because I know other people, like I know what I think. I just want to make sure that people don't misunderstand what you were trying to say, Mr. Cherry, because I know a lot of people could have took that differently, and depending on
No, I
how they
wasn't
interpret
trying
what
to
you're
be
saying.
mean or nothing.
Yeah.
Like I said, right now I'm kind of roughing it because I don't have my notes with me.
Yeah.
But just, I'm filling in with the conversation. But yeah, I mean, Jesus is better. And I know what some people say, well, he's an Israelite. Yeah, he was an Israelite, cool. But Jesus is more than that. He was
All
more
right,
than that.
come on, Perry. You wanted to answer something before we jump out of
The
here?
only well, not really answer. The one thing I just wanted to point out is it seems like Israel was just to be an example to show that we need God, period, in order to succeed.
I agree.
Okay,
all right,
and
I'm
that's why I was
sorry.
asking these questions. I was trying to flush an idea out, because I think it's important that people discuss that particular topic. What was the purpose of Israel in the old covenant, right? Separate them by covenants, but actually talk about what was
But
Christ's
we look at
role.
the Old Testament, beloved.
What'd you say?
When we look at the Old Testament, their whole lineage is about who? 42 generations of who?
Oh, I
Leading
know
up
it's
to
about
Christ.
Christ. Yeah, that's
Christ,
100%. Yeah.
Exactly. So again, I'm gonna come right back around. I don't care nobody say. It's gonna come right back. It's all about Jesus Christ. It is not about none of us. We play a part in the story. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. But again, it's still about Jesus Christ, no matter what anybody on this panel says.
So don't get me wrong. I'm not a proponent of Israelite theology. I'm just asking questions to flush things out. So I don't want you to take what I'm saying as if from the lens that you have to defend the fact that
No, I'm not.
okay.
If I was on the defensive, you will know it.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
I mean, I'm not offended
Anybody
by
else would like to say to Sister Cherry before we get out of here? Any other questions y'all like to ask her, or anything you'd like to say, Sister Cherry? So your position didn't change. Moderates are dangerous to you, more dangerous. I don't care if you like to turn moderate. I'm using it to identify her from GOCC. Messianics, whatever you want to use. I'm saying this for a reason. So I don't need no email. But Sister Cherry, so you feel those people that I discuss stuff with, the names that I say, you still feel they're more dangerous, they're equally dangerous. You just got to keep an eye on them. That's what I originally asked you. Did your position change any on Pastor Majors, on the guy Vince that's in here, the other guy Mike Shaw, or anybody that's considered a moderate that feel the Son is eternal? That believe in the finished work. That don't say
there's some issues. There is some issues. And I'm gonna reveal those issues.
Okay.
I'm gonna reveal those issues. Am I gonna reveal those issues right now? No.
Okay.
But I will reveal those issues sometime soon. Because I don't think they're being fully honest with you. And I don't think they're being honest with nobody. Now, some things, yeah, especially when they want to, they identify as an Israelite. I think they're being honest about that. That's what they believe.
Okay.
But, do I agree with it? No, but that's their conviction. Okay. But there is,
Brother Berean.
Hold on. No, was she finished?
No, he can go ahead. Go ahead.
I have
Man,
a
you ain't
question
never
for-
getting your chicken, Bree.
Oh,
sorry.
you ain't lying about that. I'm giving. Come on, brother. What you call that? We're gonna get out of here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a
Get outta
question
here.
to Sister Sherry. For instance, Sister Sherry, if your doctor was an Israelite and he had to operate on you, would you let him operate on you?
Wait a minute. Say that again, Don.
If your doctor was an Israelite, right, and you had an operation, would you let him operate on you?
Of course, if he was a white Jew.
No. I'm talking about if it was a black Israelite.
Oh, that's all right. That's
That's bogus, Marine. What you said? No, yes, I would. His
Oh.
occupation has nothing to do with his with what he believes. If he's skilled in that area, and he or she has that that degree to do what they do, whether it's heart surgery, pain, kidney surgery, whatever. Yes, that has nothing to do with that. I'm not a bigot or racist, if you want to say, or however people want to, coon, bedwitch, those things that I've been called by a lot of your peers.
not the they call not well, I don't know who which one.
Yeah, they have. I got those screenshots too. So listen,
You sure got a lot of screenshots. Go ahead.
I got a lot of screenshots. Yeah, all the way back from 2016, Vereen. I got a scrapbook. But listen, check this out. It has nothing to do with his occupation. That's almost like saying, well, would you let a black person operate on you and you're about to die? Would you let a white person operate on you? Now that's a question back at you. Would you let Esau operate on you?
No, because I don't have a problem with that. I just asked you that question because
Okay.
I know
And
you.
the same thing. Yeah, I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that. Listen, if they got the skill, the knowledge, and this is what they do, hey, come on, let me get on this operating table. Just don't kill. Praise God.
So you don't think you're one of the apologists that lump everybody together. You think you rightfully divide the individuals that the different camps. You think you know enough, and you definitely separate everybody according to their beliefs. You don't lump them together.
It is a case by case basis with me, and then on some areas I am giving a lot of everybody the side eye regarding in the Hebrew Israelite community on some subjects. I have to, because I have heard too many things from One West, which is the camps, and then I know you don't like this, but from moderates as well. I have to, so you can't knock me for that. Because listen, if I go back down memory lane on you, not to mention, have you ever heard testimonies of people that I have spoken to and brought public?
No.
No, you should listen. You really should listen. You will be, I'm telling you, it'll be a shock. And you know what? You might say, okay, I see where she's coming from.
That came out of camps?
Not only camps, but moderates as well.
Okay, all right, y'all heard it.
I counsel people as well, Kareem. I get emails from people. And of course, I keep, confidentiality because a lot of these people are scared to even voice of what happened to them. Listen, I will say this. I did have a woman that was in a relationship. Husband was a moderate, okay? And he beat her every other day.
Oh.
So, yeah. So, and that's as far as I'm going to go. So listen, there is reason for us to give side eye. And then, hold on, I will tell you this part. He even tried to use scripture to justify the domestic violence and ignore everything else. Now, am I saying all Israelites are like that? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, listen, there's a big chunk of your peers that's making it bad for you all. Okay.
All right. All right, y'all. I'm closing. I'm getting out of here, y'all.
Don't close yet, Brother Ian.
I'm getting out of here right now. I'm down on my